Billy got it bumping. Leg drop, boot to the face, we won't fold. Put a dude in this place, he out cold. With a tombstone, grapple the waist, get laid flat. Can't escape, nowhere to go, the cage match. It's on now, when I spot him, it's no problem. Everybody stone cold till they hit with the rock bottom. Sharpshooter, I won't miss him like Bret Hart. Like Al Snow, they gon' need him a head start. I just might catch a better body than Mickey James. Get acquainted with the name, we bringin' the pain. Like Kane in the ring, all I see is red. Paul era, Undertaker, I can see the dead. John Cena putting hands in your face. 10 DBS, keep a milli on the waist. B2TF, better stay in your place or get smacked down, play it safe. What you talking about?
Welcome to the latest episode of Boot to the Face here on YouTube and all your favorite podcasting platforms. I'm Chris Rucker along with my host EJ Reed. Please follow us on all of our socials and hit that sub button on YouTube. Hit the notification button, I think is the thing I hear people say. Maybe a like, maybe share it with your friends, the whole nine. But please get at us on all your forms of social media. Our Linktree. You can find all of our audio, merch store, social medias like TikTok and Twitter and Instagram, the whole nine are all in our linktree/boot to the face. And we are coming off fresh off of Wrestlemania weekend, EJ, where me and you were out there in Las Vegas. You went to both nights. I went to night one. I don't know about you, but I got in late Monday night. Went to work this morning and I am fucking worn out.
I am worn out myself. I got back before the sun went down yesterday, but still traveling and all of Vegas will just take a lot out of you. So happy to be back, in my own place, but still had a blast over this past weekend.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun running around, and I went to, WrestleCon and WWE World. Tried to go to a after party, which I still gotta get in touch with those fuckers about that, which will tell you that story. And Wale Mania was a lot of fun. WrestleMania night one was a lot of fun. Hanging out at the Fully Posable party that they had, where I probably drank way too fucking much. Shouldn't say probably, I did, but hanging out with everybody, like the Fully Posable brothers, they were fun. I finally met Scott. I'd already met Jeff once or twice. JD Hoop and his brother were there. I ended up hanging out with my buddy Brent Jenkins, watched WrestleMania night 2 at his house. It was a good time meeting and talking to everybody.
I always seem to allude, or vice versa, JD Hoop. I always see his brother, but I never see JD Hoop in person.
Did you not see him this time?
No. Every time it's his brother. It's like this past WrestleCade, it was his brother again. It's always his brother, but never JD.
Well, I guess you didn't go to WrestleCon. That's where I hung out with them at both times. Was walking around with them at WrestleCon. It's funny because he's like the most reserved and like non-braggy person, and he does all these fucking designs for all these wrestlers, and they had this Cody robe on display for sale up there, and he's like, yeah, I designed that. I'm like,
nice.
Well, here, let me take a fucking video of you saying you designed it. And then a guy heard it, and they got to talking about like the process and all that, and I think the guy I want to think that was the guy that was like, yeah, I might need logos for my business, but I do remember somebody telling it. But he's just so like, not like, if I was doing all that shit, I'd walk around with a shirt on, like I designed this, with a picture of like all the wrestlers and what they're wearing. But he's just like, whatever.
Yeah, the man is definitely talented. I kind of wonder how he feels about AI trying to come into the game, taking away from guys as talented as him.
I don't know. I wonder if he uses it to his advantage too. Like, he comes up with the idea and kind of plugs it in, or if he just does it on his own. That's a good question. I never thought about that.
Because you've always mentioned JD way before I joined. the show. So, and you know, AI just really took off with the past year or two, maybe. So be interested to see your thought on that. But that's what's up. Sounds like y'all had a nice time at the Fully Posable event in WrestleCon. I'm guessing we'll lay out the sequence of events, what went down in Vegas as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about our trip off the bat. I got in Wednesday night, and I stayed at where did I stay at? I stayed at Circa Wednesday night, but I got in pretty late. My flight left Atlanta at 10 o'clock, so it's what 7 Vegas time. So I landed at like 11:30. Called an Uber, um, got over there, checked in, grabbed something to eat, went down to the roulette table, maybe gambled for like an hour. No, I think I walked down to the D and gambled a little bit, and then went to bed. Got up early as hell because my body clock is on Atlanta time. So took some of the money that I won and walked over to the bank and deposited it. It was like a mile walk. So I walked a couple miles that morning just to get the juices going because I knew I was about to be drinking for the whole weekend. So it was like, let me get my body moving a little bit. And then Thursday night is when you rolled into town, met up at Wrestlemania, which was a lot of fun. Jay Uso, Naomi. I ended up leaving just because I had been drinking for so long that day. And we got there. I got there right when it started at like 7, I think. And I think I probably left at what, 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, something like that.
And it wasn't even halfway like over. Like I don't know what time it ended, but and then I left from there and checked into my other hotel on the strip where I stayed at, which was nowhere near as nice as my Circa hotel. I'm never staying at Excalibur again.
How come?
It was just a trash hotel. Like my room smelled bad. My water pressure was awful. Like I was in there trying to shave, and I'm black. I got a little thicker hair, so like my hair gets caught, and I shave my head too. So my hair, I need some water pressure to get the hair out of the fucking razors and shit. And it was just kind of like falling out. The toilet wouldn't flush correctly. It was just like, my God. That's the only hotel I've stayed in Vegas where I was just like, I'm never fucking staying here again. But
Really, that's so. It seems like it's so close in proximity with the Luxor that it would be similar, but I guess not.
well, the Luxor and Excalibur and Mandalay Bay are all connected, and they're all MGM properties. But it literally goes from like shitty Excalibur, a couple levels higher, the Luxor, dope as fuck Mandalay Bay. Like,
there's levels to the shit.
yeah, which is probably why they gave me that room for free, because I could have stayed at the Luxor, but it would have been like $150 a night. Mandalay Bay would have been like $300 a night. And I was like, well, this is free. Like, I'll deal with it. But yeah, it was. I'm not staying there again. Like, if it's $40 a night to stay at the Luxor over that, I'd rather just pay the money because I don't want to deal with that shit anymore.
I stayed at the Excalibur once. This is for my 30th birthday party. So, shit, that was almost 7 years ago now. Crazy. But I can't remember. It was so long ago. I can't remember the quality of the room. So, I'm guessing you're right. I'm guessing it wasn't even that good.
Yeah, it was not great. And then, not for nothing, like gambling on the strip now. So I play roulette, and they have, if you play roulette, you can have 2 zeros on the board, or you can have 3 zeros on the board. Well, the Luxor has both of those. 3 zeros, you get worse odds because 1 zero's on one side, 1 zero's on the other when it's 2. When it's 3, they're all in a row. So the chances of it landing on 0 are greater, obviously, right? They only ran the 3-0 boards. They had all the other ones shut down. They never fucking ran them. Not just the Luxor. They did it at the Luxor, Mandalay Bay, and Excalibur. All 3 of those hotels. I didn't go over and gamble at MGM, although I did walk through MGM to go get on the tram or whatever. But yeah, so that was annoying. I had to go downtown to get my gambling on. But yes, Wrestlemania was dope, man. What was your experience about Wrestlemania? You literally jumped off the plane and went basically straight to Wrestlemania after dropping your shit off at your hotel.
So I came in a day later than you, and I worked like not quite half a day, maybe like a third a day on Thursday. So I went after I got off work. I went to the airport, got in around 5 something Vegas time, Pacific time, and like you said, I basically jumped straight off the plane to Wally Mania. But I stopped. Actually, I did make a pit stop to the liquor store, got me a few items, and then went to the hotel, washed my ass. Literally, it's probably like within off the plane into Wally Mania is probably only like an hour and a half in between then. So I got a lot of shit done in that hour and a half. Got in the shower, pregame a lot. I bought I don't know what you call it, maybe a fifth of what you call it, makers. So it
Uh-huh.
wasn't that much. It wasn't that much in the bottle. So I probably took about half that down go on the way to Wale Mania. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. What's the smaller bottle? I don't know if it's called a fifth.
I think it is. I don't know. It's 375 milliliters. That one. It's half a bottle of a regular one.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So I took like half of that down to Wale Mania. Like, so I went in. I don't even know what area was that in. I know it was outside of In and Out.
Was it Planet Hollywood? It was around. Maybe
I
not
think so.
Planet
Yeah,
Hollywood. Was it Planet Hollywood? Okay. Yeah,
not
because I got dropped
maybe.
off there. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. Like it's in some Vegas is like they all that shit looks the same. Like all these big ass casinos and shopping malls and there. It's just like you could have been at fucking Paris. You could have been at New York, New York. You could have been at Planet
Yeah.
Hollywood. Like who knows? I just know it was a dope little setup they had.
Yeah. So I made my way into there. The line wasn't bad either, I guess, because it was still pretty early. I think I got there like right around 8, which was the scheduled time. Written on paper, CPT for Naomi. They get on, and then Jay is supposed to be right after her. So I went in there. I'm like, let me see if I can find them without hitting them up. So I made my way through the crowd and spotted Rucker out pretty fast. It was a pretty big venue. I went last year. It was like the size of the area where they had the actual Wale Mania event was about the same size as last year, but they had a whole nother other side which made it bigger with like bowling and all types of other shit. So the venue they had was huge.
Yeah.
So I found Rucker, and then that's where the stories pretty much collide. But you did leave an hour early, or not? Maybe how much longer did I stay after you? I probably may have stayed an hour and a half after you, because I wanted to see who all came out. So you missed Samantha Urban's performance, which was pretty dope. She had a background singers and whatnot. So
You stayed
hopefully
long enough to see Jeff Hardy?
oh yeah, he was there too. So I might have stayed like 2 more hours in you. Yeah, Jeff Hardy came out, which was an interesting guest. Some reason, because I was talking to somebody next to me, I'm like, why black people love Jeff Hardy so much? He's like, man. He's like, man, Jeff Hardy's for the culture. We always fuck with him since TLC. I'm like, man, I'm really explaining it. I'm like, all right.
Right. Because he had a match, all of a sudden he's for the culture.
Yeah.
Because he jumped off a ladder. He's one of us now.
Yeah. So I just took his word for it. And then like who else came out? So Samantha Irvin, Jeff Hardy. I feel like last year was a little bit more star-studded as far as people they brought out.
Yeah.
Because I remember they brought out the Hurt Business before they reformed officially. Shelton and them came out. A few other people. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember just being more. I know AJ Francis was there last year on stage.
Didn't they
A
have
few
like a
other
rap battle?
I don't know. This year or last year?
This year. I thought it was scheduled to be
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
fatal
they did.
rap battle.
By that time, I was already pretty hammered. So I remember them rapping a little bit, but I can't remember exactly what was
See,
said and if any bars were spit. They did have like a little routine that was to like a bunch of WWE themes, and the sound fucked up during it, and they had to restart it. People were booing when the sound messed up, but
oh, that's fucked up. Why would they boo?
yeah, I felt bad for the dancers. Not their fault. I think they were booing more so the audio people and whatnot. But
Why would you boo anybody though? People make mistakes. Fucking relax. Just have a good time.
yeah. So after they got that fixed, it was pretty dope. And then when Wale, I know last year Wale was the last to come on because it's his event and perform. So when he came on, I'm like, man, let me make my way out. I'm like, that's it. I don't want to sound like ungrateful or unappreciative of the event they put on, but I just expected there to be more people to come out for like cameo and stuff. So
Yeah.
once he got on stage, I know it was close to the end, and that's when I made my way out. But yeah, that's how Thursday ended up. I don't know what happened with you on going into Friday.
I don't know. So like you were saying, you were pretty hammered. When I'm like that in public, I'm like, all right, I started doing the math in my head when Jay was on stage, like, all right, if I call an Uber, it's gonna take them like 15 minutes to get here. Probably a 20-minute ride to my hotel, and I gotta make I'm like doing the math, like how drunk am I gonna be if I was to call the Uber right now? Am I gonna be able to make it back to my room? So I just looked at EJ. I was like, yeah, it's time for me to fucking go. But hey, at least I told you, and I didn't do the whole Irish exit like I normally do.
Yeah, that was very courteous of you. Yeah.
So then Friday, what did I do Friday? I made my way over to WWE World, and what a ripoff that was. It was $80 to get in there, and maybe I just went on the busiest day. I don't fucking know, but like it was just, hey, pay all this money to come stand in line. The line to get into the Superstore, which was the main reason I wanted to go because that's the best store that they have, literally went around the entire venue. It was so many people in there. And then if you wanted to do, I saw Busted Open was about to start their podcast while I was there, so I watched like the first 2-3 minutes of that, and then
Who was there?
it was Dave and Tommy Dreamer.
And which place was this at?
This was at WWE World. They were guests at the World. This was at it was close to the Westgate. It was the convention center. Let me tell you about the convention center. So I thought, oh, I'm gonna save a little money because Uber's like $60 to get over there right now. So I'm gonna buy one of these tram passes, $20 for 48 hours. I could just take that back and forth to Westgate and all that. Man, yeah, sounds good. You need to walk 1.5 miles to get there, and then when you get on, you gotta walk like another mile. And then we're outside the convention center, right? Like you can see the convention center. And I'm like, hey, how do I get to the WWE thing? And the lady that's out there helping, she goes, oh, you just walk down this way for like 2 or 3 minutes, go downstairs, and then the Teslas will pick you up and take you there. I was like, the Teslas? I don't know if you've seen this online. Have you seen the Tesla tunnel that they built in Vegas?
Nah.
Yeah. So you go downstairs, they say, where you going? You say, I'm going to the convention center for WWE. Or you say, I'm going to the south side of the convention center, whatever, right? They tell you which line to get in. And these Teslas are just coming around picking people up. And then they drive you through these underground tunnels. I was hoping it was going to be a driverless Tesla, but it was a guy in there because that would have been dope. But yeah, people get paid to just drive these fucking Teslas through these tunnels all day long.
You're a better man than me. If it was a driverless one, I would have said nope.
Really? I've been wanting to get it.
Technology
like
is
tunnel.
too...
It's not like there's other traffic down there besides the other cars, and you're just driving one way.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Like maybe if I was drunk enough, they say the drunk people are the one that survives any wrecks because your body's so loose.
I'd have been good then.
Yeah,
I was feeling pretty good that day at WWE World. So I checked in there, I got my stuff and walked in, and like I said, it was just a bunch of lines. I ran into my homeboy Ray. I don't think you saw Ray while you were here, did you?
Nah.
Yeah, I ran into him, and him and his son were waiting to go meet AJ Styles. We talked for a minute. The funny thing is, I told him where I was. I was waiting in line to see the action figures and shit. And Jay Uso walks in, and he's got like a hoodie on. He's got a couple guys with him, and they're kind of just keeping to themselves. But he's like, if you're looking, you can see who it is. Ray and Jay literally passed each other, almost bumped shoulders. And I was like, damn, you just walked by Jay Uso. He was like, where? I was like, you damn near ran into him. You almost shoulder checked the motherfucker before his main event match. He's like, oh, no, I was looking over here to see where you were. Like, I wasn't paying attention to who was walking by me. And then as Jay's walking away, you start seeing, like, people start recognizing who he is, and everybody kind of flows over that way. They had a Triple H Hall of Fame museum in there. I didn't go in, but it was its own little, like, walled off thing that you had to go in and you could walk through like 30 years of Triple H. I was like, what a cocksucker this guy is.
I mean, it's his Hall of Fame weekend, so what do you expect?
How come there was no 20 years of the total package? Where's, Michelle?
Maybe to play devil's advocate, maybe they just have like the headliner stuff. Like maybe last year they had whoever was on the headline of it last year. I can't even remember.
It's Triple H.
But,
You know what would be great for WWE World? If we just had a display with all my stuff in it. I'll send you guys some stuff. It'd be dope. But
that's funny though that you bumped into Jey Uso. I always wonder like how would it be to be that level of famous, because he's famous enough where he probably gets annoyed by a bunch of wrestling fans on the street, but I feel like in like certain parts of the country, we're like, who's this guy? He probably wouldn't get noticed in certain part of the country. So
he just goes to the gym, nobody bothers. But walking around WWE World, everybody's like, oh shit, it's Jey Uso. I think that'd be the perfect level of fame, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
Oh shit, I didn't even talk about you talking about going through places. I'm getting on my plane in Atlanta and I'm like, why does that girl look so familiar? And I couldn't think of her name. It was Ren Sinclair. That was the first one I noticed. She's in there wearing like yoga pants and whatever. I was like, huh, she looks like an athlete. And then she turned around. I'm like, oh shit. And then I see a guy stand up, put a leather jacket on. It's Lexus King, aka Brian Pillman. And then the family, all three of them are standing there. The Don, the other guy, and what's the late Rizzo, the girl?
Yeah.
It was her.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was about to say that level of fame is interesting too, because they're on like a nationally broadcast product. But to tie that story in, I was at the airport, and when I got off my flight, I was waiting for my Uber, and right there was the whole American Made minus Gable, and then your girl Shotzi Blackheart was there, like all standing right there, but nobody was bothering him at all.
Yeah. Everybody was, I don't know. And who else was on the flight? Josh Gresham was on there. I didn't see him until I got on. I was walking through and I'm like, who is this little muscle motherfucker? And I was like, oh.
Jonathan Gresham?
Jonathan Gresham, I'm sorry. I always say Josh. He was sitting there just like big as hell in his seat, but like feet was swinging at the bottom.
Oh, shit. Short joke.
I can do that. I'm short as shit too. And then on my flight home, Nick Aldis is on my plane. I think there was somebody else too. Oh yeah, the Ass Boys is on my plane. At least one of them was. I didn't see the second one. The shorter Ass Boy was on my plane too on the way back to Atlanta.
Colt and what's the other one's name? I can't even remember. Colton and
he was with
Ass Boy
girlfriend, whichever, however that goes. But
Austin.
Yeah. I don't. And
he has a sorry to interrupt again. He has a girlfriend that's a wrestler.
Oh, I don't know. He was just holding hands with somebody. I don't know who she was, but I was just saying his wife or girlfriend was flying back with him. But I don't fuck with people in the airport like that. Like I saw Nick Aldis, I made eye contact with him. I kind of gave him a little head nod, like, what's up? And he kind of like did a little half wave, like, please don't come fuck with me. I was like, I ain't even that type of nigga, dog. Like, you ain't got to worry about. But he was just kind of like, I just want to get on the plane and fucking go. And that's how the NXT people were too. It was like, although I'm sure if I would have came up to them and been like, yo, let me get a picture, they probably would have been like, hell yeah. But I think when you've been through shit like that for a while, it gets old. So leave these people at the airport.
Yeah, and I wonder where his wife was at, because that would have been interesting if she was with him, because she would have definitely went up to you. So that's interesting that he was by himself.
I'm sure I think he recognized me, but didn't like. He recognizes me like I kind of know that guy, but I have no idea who he is. Like I've met him 3 or 4 times now, but we're not like cool. But I imagine he's like, I recognize him. And then when I kind of nodded at him, he, like I said, he gave me a little half wave back. Or he was, fucker, I know you. Talking about my wife all the fucking time. Say something now, bitch.
He don't seem like he's got that type of animosity in them, but who knows? But going back to the level of fame thing, I feel like, those type of people on that level of fame, like in the wrestling industry, of course they're getting bugged all the time, so they probably don't want people coming up to them asking for autographs. But unless you're John Cena or The Rock, I feel like there's a thin line between, people, giving you the admiration and want to come up to you to a couple years later, nobody knowing who the fuck you are. Because we've seen like the old broken down wrestlers at these conventions with nobody in their line. So I think all of those people on that level should be humble.
You know what's funny? You talk about that. Like me and you both at WrestleCade saw nobody in Joe Hendry's line, and that was in November. And then this year, everybody's in his line, and he shows up at WrestleMania. So like, the level of fame is crazy. It goes up and down so fast. Also, Joe Hendry was at WWE The World, like advertised for meet and greets with them. So the WWE TNA thing is something's going on that we don't know about. Because
I mean, we'll probably get into the AAA part of it, but yeah, I mean, as far as Hendry, and we'll talk about him later as well. I think he had like a little cooling down period when they didn't put it on him in Bound for Glory, and then they finally put him on him at the top of the year. So I think we caught him literally in that little weird period in between when he cooled down a little bit.
Yeah, I just got an alert on my phone. I was checking it, and Mandy Rose's Instagram popped up, and the outfit that she was wearing at WrestleCade, I just sent to you that I saw in person. Oh my goodness. But yeah, WrestleCade was fun. I got my picture with Sting. A funny little interaction I had was Hoop and his brother, and there's a couple other guys there. I can never remember my guy's name. He's a light-skinned black guy. I can never think of his fucking name. He's got a complicated name. I've only met him once or twice, but he was there, and him and Sonny Ono were talking, and they introduced me to Sonny Ono. And Sonny Ono told a little bit of a, I ain't gonna say racist joke, but it was like a little joke about me. So I immediately fired one back that, probably would have, that I'm not gonna repeat here on Boot to the Face. And he starts laughing. Huh?
You have to tell me off air.
Yeah. Sonny Ono starts laughing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I get it. You're cool. And I was like, "Yeah, I saw the cat Ernest Miller over there because Sonny Ono and Ernest used to be cool on TV." And my guy goes, I said, "Yeah, funny thing is the cat lives in my neighborhood." And dude goes, "What? Come on, we'll go over here. Let's talk to him about it." He goes over, introduces me to the cat, and the cat starts like making jokes and shit. And he's like, "I thought I recognized you, one, because you're ugly, and two, 'cause 3 black people in our neighborhood." So, but so I talked to the cat like both days I was there, and he had a female wrestler sitting next to him that I ended up taking a picture with, and then I'm gonna try to get on the podcast. JD Who told me, he said she's gonna be pretty big. She reached out about doing designs and whatnot. Jessica Roden, the ultimate athlete. I pointed her out to you at WrestleMania. And let's see, who else did we have interactions with? Walked up, said hi to Mickie James, gave her a hug, and her handler, Tony LaRusso, I know him pretty good. It was funny. This dude was sitting there talking to Mickie James, and he's like, "You mind if I get a picture?" And Tony jumps in. He goes, "Yeah, these are the prices for him." And he was like, "Oh, I thought I could just get one." And he's like, "Yeah, for these prices." And the guy goes, "No, I don't pay for pictures." And Tony was like, "Well, pictures then." like, what are you doing? I guess the guy thought if I stand here and talk to her and befriend her long enough, but that was just a little funny interaction. And then I said hey to her and went about my way. I had a cup in my hand, and she goes, "Let me guess, whiskey?" I was like, "You would be correct, ma'am." But yeah, that was fun. And then ran into Jeff from Fully Posable and his buddy, talked to them for a minute right before their meetup. So their meetup was supposed to be at one place, and then Jeff calls me and he's like, "Change the plans. The meetup is actually staying at the Westgate," which was great because I didn't have to Uber somewhere else. So we just went to the sports book at the Westgate. They had a pretty good turnout. I think it was like 20 people there. They had a guy doing trivia. I bought way too many $30 doubles of whiskey and Coke. Um, it was like I woke up the next day and looked at my statement. I was like, God damn, what was I doing? But that was fun. It was a lot of fun hanging out with them. Like, this is my first time meeting Scott, Jeff's brother, who I think I got along with probably because we were both drunk. So me and him just told like inappropriate jokes the whole night. Jeff is, he's a CM Punk guy. He's a straight edge. So he's sober the whole time, all the time, but he's fucking hilarious also. It was good hanging out with them. Like, it was a lot of fun that night, meeting all their listeners that I hear about and stuff like that all the time. I actually ran into one of their listeners that also listens to our show, EJ. And he was asking about you. It's like, where the hell's EJ? I don't fucking know. I guess he's too cool. Russell, him, his wife, and his son were there. I took a picture with him. He actually asked me to take a picture. I was like, what? That's the level of fame I am. Somebody's like, hey, let me take a picture with you. I'm like, fuck yeah, don't do so. I can never take enough pictures. Let's do this. Ray and all his friends were there. Like, it was a good time. What was that, Friday night? And then we met up with you and played some roulette and then went to the fucking craps table. And about halfway through the craps table, Rucker was tapping out. It was like, it's time for me to go to my room, guys. Y'all get home safe.
Yeah, so with the fully posable, how'd you end up connected with them initially?
Oh man, so I used to listen to another podcast called Doing the Favor, and I got cool with them when I first started podcasting. Some kind of way, like our streams crossed, Eric and Barry, and they were like, they're my age, they're cool. One guy's in Ohio, one guy's in Wisconsin, and we were supposed to meet up at All In, and then Eric had like a family emergency, he had to cancel at the last minute. So I've never actually met them in real life. These, people that you text with and talk football and shit like that. And Eric was like, yeah, I'm listening to Fully Posable podcast, and he was telling me like they were on that show, The Toys That Made Us, for action figures of the 80s and all that. So I started listening and interacting with him. And when we used to do our Zooms during COVID, Jeff came on there one time, just like I threw the invite out. He came on. So me and him got cool that way. And I just been listening to their show. They've been listening to this one for the longest. And I met Jeff at WrestleCon in Dallas. He was there with Ray, who I met through Doing the Favor and Fully Posable also. They didn't even know we knew each other. Like, Jeff's like, yeah, I was standing there talking. All of a sudden, you and Ray are like giving bro hugs and shit. And I'm like, man, me and Ray done went to baseball games together in Atlanta and all kind of shit. So that's how I know them. I had never been to one of their meetups though, so that was fun. Yeah, there's just a couple good dudes that like their podcast is pretty big, and they find people that they like and they kind of try to pull them up with them. Like, they give shout outs to podcasts and like tell you to listen to them and always share and shit like that. So it's like, and they're big enough to where Cardona and Myers podcast, which is basically the same fucking thing, but Jeff and Scott started theirs first. There was actually a little beef with them way back in the day. They're all cool now. Like, the guy that does Major Pod's action figures, like the guy that ships them all out, Canic, he was actually at Fully Posable's meetup. Like, they've all gotten that cool now to where they do all that. But their podcast is pretty good. And like I said, they didn't just get big and be like, all right, we're big now. They just kind of like reached down trying to pull everybody else up with them. So I always thought that was cool of them.
Yeah, it is cool of them. And shout out to Russell, who you met there. And I hope you told him the real reason I wasn't there and just said, I don't know. You know exactly why I wasn't there.
I said, EJ don't hang out with this many white people at once.
That's straight cap. I'm hoping you eventually told him the real reason. The real reason I was in there, because I decided to make my way to SmackDown that went down at the T-Mobile Arena after a day of recuperating in my bed all day. I moseyed my way on down to SmackDown, And I think this is my first time going to the SmackDown before Mania. I've only been to one Mania, so it is my first time going to SmackDown. I didn't go last year because I was at Ring of Honor last year, and it was a big crowd, like for any like other SmackDown, probably even more because you think people would want to like maybe chill out before the day before WrestleMania, but it was packed to the rafters there, and it was a solid show. I know you didn't get a chance to watch it because you were
I heard they
doing your
booed
thing.
your boy Cody.
They did, and so you didn't watch it when we were hanging out for most of the weekend, so you didn't want me to kind of tell you what went on because you wanted to watch it yourself. I don't know if you eventually watched it. I'm guessing not.
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, so before that though, they booed Bianca out of the building, and you know how that made me feel. I'm like, why? Why y'all booing Bianca?
Racist.
Exactly. And I didn't understand where this animosity came from, but as the cliche goes, haters gonna hate. And like you said, they booed because Cena came out for his final promo, and Cody came out. So at the beginning of the promo, they were booing Cody out of the building, and then like halfway through the promo, he was able to turn the crowd around, and they were cheering for him by the end of the promo. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that before. Maybe Prime Super Cena did it. I don't know. I wasn't really watching back then, but yeah, by the end of this promo, they were cheering for him. So that's how fickle the crowd is.
Cody's had to do that before. He did that his last. We've talked about it on here. His last AEW promo, they were chanting "Shut the fuck up" to him, and by the end of it, they were all chanting his name. So he's able to fucking pull him in when he wants to. When he wants to dig down and like get real, he can.
Yeah, I don't remember that. You got a better memory than me. For some reason, I thought that went all bad, but I'm sure there was spurts here and there, like you said, where you turned it around at AEW. But besides that, another notable thing is during that Battle Royal, people were really behind Melo, and he's been kind of trying to find his footing on the main roster. So maybe this is the start of a little spark because they were cheering for him when he was able to get the win in that Battle Royal, Andre the Giant. So yeah, so that was my notes from SmackDown. But then after I left SmackDown, like you said, I finally met up with y'all at the hotel, and I was able to meet Jeff from Fully Posed One. He was a good guy, man. Joked around some and telling me about the podcast they did a little bit. So shout out to Jeff.
Then Saturday, what did we do Saturday? Saturday I went to WrestleCon. That's where I did Saturday. I went to WrestleMania and then went back to my hotel and took a nap. And made the trek to Allegiant Stadium, which was Vegas is just, it's great and it's annoying. It's like Uber costs so much and you can walk everywhere, but you can't walk everywhere because you got to go up a bridge, through a tunnel, around the corner, through the laughing tree. Like, it's so much shit you got to do to get to it. But luckily the weather was great. I did get a little sweaty on the way there, which will play into why I had to change clothes later in the night, which will play into why we couldn't go somewhere. But yeah, met EJ up at WrestleMania. I got a t-shirt and we watched WrestleMania night one. And I thought it was, I think at one point I leaned over to you. I was like, it doesn't feel like WrestleMania. Like the show was fun, but it didn't feel like the first match did and the last match did. But everything in between was just kind of like, it felt like SmackDown or Raw or something. Now, I had a great time. I enjoyed the show. It just didn't feel as big as it had before at the other two WrestleManias I'd went to.
Yeah, it almost felt like a glorified, like you said, SmackDown or Raw at points of it. But where can you chalk that up to? I guess the promotion coming into it. Why do you think it felt like that?
Chalk it up to TKO. They're just money grabbers now.
But you think it's going to be a change if they keep making money hand over fist and people keep buying the tickets? Does that give them an incentive to actually change anything as far as putting these cars together?
Well, I don't. So my boy The Rock was on TV today, he was talking about the ticket sales for Elimination Chamber and stuff like that. I think they are about to start pricing people out of these things. Like those tickets were expensive as fuck, and there's a lot of people going to Vegas that were spending a lot of money on stuff. And I don't know. I don't see where all the money's coming from. Just the WWE World costs a shitload of money getting to. It used to cost $50 to go there. Now it's 80, right? You used to be able to like I went into Dallas and got a picture with Sting. It just came with it. Now you want a picture with Jay Uso? That's $250 if you get it and it's not sold out. You want a picture with Stone Cold Steve Austin? That's $350 off the bat. On top of the 80 you paid to get in there already. Oh, you want to go to the after party and meet the Usos? That's $600 plus how much it costs to get in. Like these prices are fucking ridiculous now. What they're doing, and I get it. Like WWE is as popular as it's ever been, but I question that because not a lot of people watch it on Netflix, and the ratings on USA aren't the best. Now they're selling out arenas, but it's been a minute since Michael Cole was like for the third consecutive sellout. Like they're starting not to, and they can say what they want. They didn't sell out Allegiant Stadium.
It was patches, but when it's that big, you can't tell.
Right. Like
Had a good house.
60,000 people's nothing to sneeze at. But don't lie to me and say you sold out. How you sell out night one, there's 61,000, and then night two, there's 64,000.
But you could just say they actually sold out the tickets, but some people, not everybody attend. Like you could buy a ticket and still not attend. So I guess that's the ad on that one.
No, I mean, they only count tickets paid for. They don't count people that came.
Yeah, I don't understand how that works then. Maybe I was thinking more so of the turnstile. I thought they announced attendance. I didn't think they announced, they said, what if so-and-so is attended? So, but they were calling both of them sold out, even though they were announced attendance. Right. Yeah.
And it was 3,000 people less the first night than it was the second night.
Yeah, that's a contradiction, definitely. But yeah, I don't know, man. I know you said back in 2022 when you did Dallas, prices were cheaper, weren't they?
Almost the same seats that me and you sat in were probably $200 cheaper. Me, Marty, my ex-wife, Joey DeLorme, his brother, his dad, Marty's girlfriend, we all got a block of seats right there. And I don't think it was more than like $120 after fees and shit like that.
Yeah, man. I mean, even though Vince is a despicable human being, seems like the prices were better under that regime because they didn't have the super company that they had the answer to the board and shareholders. They had a smaller, I know WWE still has shareholders, but not on the level as this TKO merger. So they got to pay back those shareholders somehow, and it's going to reflect in the fans' pockets, which is unfortunate because, like you said, it'll eventually price them out. And I don't know, man. I don't know about New Orleans. Maybe that's another thing. Maybe venue, because Vegas is just expensive in general. Maybe prices may dip in New Orleans a little bit, but I don't know. And I know the Superdome is bigger than Allegiant, so who knows how it's going to end up next year.
I mean, look, as of right now, I'm not going to WrestleMania next year. Now, WrestleMania weekend in New Orleans? I don't know. I mean, the prices for stuff around New Orleans aren't nearly what they are in Vegas, and New Orleans is just a fun city. And I mean, I love going to WrestleCon. I love doing. Excuse me.
What if the ticket prices are lower next year? Because, like I said, it's going to be in a bigger venue. What if they dip back to the Dallas prices?
Oh, then I might be in then, but just I'm not going to WWE World. I'm not doing any of that shit I did this year, where it was just like. It just felt like a big money grab. Like, you get in and shit's not what it's supposed to be. Like, I was talking earlier, and I guess this is partly my fault. Like, we were going to a nightclub, but when I was leaving WrestleMania, I was kind of sweating, and I was like, I just feel gross. So I went and changed. I bought one pair of pants, and I wore them to WrestleMania. So I put shorts on. They weren't like jean shorts or ripped up. They were like golf shorts, like kind of dress shorts. And they wouldn't let us into the after party because I had shorts on. We took a $40 Uber ride over there. And honestly, EJ, if you would have been like, all right, well, I'll see you back later, I wouldn't have been mad at you for going yourself because you were within fucking code of it. I was thinking about
Yeah.
that on my plane ride home. I was like, EJ should have fucking went. I didn't even think to tell you to stay.
Man, I just had a no man left behind mentality at that point because, of course, I could have went in, but I just would have been there by myself. Of course, I could have, mosey my way and try to link up with people and network in there. But at that point, I was tired of shit. I'm like, fuck it. I
Yeah,
guess it's not meant to be.
that was kind of how I felt because I was like, I guess I could go back and change and come back. Yeah, it would have been twice the Uber shit, but it was also like I was tired going there. Like we hung out with Damian Cruz and his girlfriend for probably an hour, sitting at the bar at Excalibur. Shout out to
Mhm.
Damian. They were it was cool to finally get to chop it up with him in person instead of just online. I've literally no. I mean, Marty and Damien have hung out before multiple times, but I've never actually met Damien in person. But like we fucking text and talk shit and whatnot. He's you know baseball and football fan. Also loves wrestling, so it was good to see him in person. But yeah, on the Uber ride over there, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, shit, I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to stay at this place. Now, when we walked in to the Fountain Blue Hotel, that was like a whole different world than the rest of Vegas. Like even the casino, I think you even said like the casinos, it was clean, it was lit up, like there was no cigarette smoke. Everybody there was dressed like to the nines. At least all the women were. Like when you picture Vegas and you picture women in Vegas, it's Fountain Blue that you're picturing. It's not Fremont Street.
Yeah, yeah, and this is the second Fountain Blue that's in the country. They have one in Miami, and it's literally like the same setup as far as like what they have in it because they have a what's the Live? They have a Live in. That's where Live got famous. Live on Sunday, like Sunday's the spot to go to at Live in Miami. So they brought that over to Vegas. It's basically a match made in heaven. But yeah, like you said, it's a different for Fremont because if you go like the towel clubs like Towel in Vegas, that's how they dressed up like that. So it just depends. Like a lot of the strip spots at night, girls all dressed up and then taking their shoes off at the end of the night and their dirty
Ugh,
ass feet.
trashy fucking hoes. Just gross.
But
There's
yeah,
nothing that like makes me judge a person more besides like smoking cigarettes than like a woman walking barefoot in public. It's just so nasty to me.
I understand why they do it because we don't have to walk in those whatever higher heel inch 11-inch heels whatever they're wearing. But I feel like if you're a woman and you know your feet are gonna be hurt by the end of the night, don't you have a purse? Why don't you bring up a little backup little pair of shoes you can fold up in your purse and wear those afterward?
Yeah, you don't think it'll hurt if you step on a piece of glass or something like a fucking lit cigarette? You know what I mean? You're drunk ass stumbling. You wake up the next morning, you got holes in your feet, don't know where they came from. It's because you were walking through the goddamn casino with no shoes on, Becky.
All just to look cute to a bunch of guys you probably turn down if they walk up to you. Nasty work. Nasty work right there.
Right. I tell you what, I was excited about going in an after party, but it wasn't to be. But there's a chick that looked like Megan Bain in line behind us, and I was like, "Ooh, if this
Oh
is what's
yeah.
going to be inside, this will be a good viewing party."
Yeah. So I was curious to see like the mix of crowds. I think some of them were just there not knowing there was a wrestling event going on. So
It was Saturday night at Live.
yeah, so yeah. But I'm sure there's footage online somewhere. Maybe I'll check it out.
Then Sunday comes, and I just what did I do Sunday? I went to my buddy's house, my friend Brent, and watched WrestleMania at his house with him. We had tickets to go to the Palms Hotel pool, and I'm mad that we didn't because Mandy Rose was there, Penelope Ford was there, Shelton Benjamin, now Mojo Rawley, like and now I'm seeing all these pictures of like all the other wrestlers that were there too, that were just like literally just hanging out with fans watching WrestleMania. I thought that would have been cool, but I enjoyed hanging out with my buddy Brent. We hadn't watched WrestleMania together in like 10 years, probably.
Oh
Um,
damn.
yeah, he hadn't watched wrestling in forever. Me and him, we used to go to his house and watch WrestleMania parties all the time. And then when I was throwing WrestleMania parties, he would always come over and we were like fucking nerds. Like if it was WrestleMania weekend, I would clear my schedule. I would send my son to his grandparents' house. They would come over. We just fucking play Madden and watch old WrestleMania fucking matches all day Saturday. Everybody would sleep at my place. Then we wake up Sunday, go play golf, and then come back and watch WrestleMania the whole day. That was our thing for like 5 or 6 years. Um, but it was cool watching Sunday with him. I'll I, I took some mental notes about watching wrestling with somebody that has no clue who anybody is. Besides, I mean, he knows like Roman Reigns and shit like that, but like Liv Morgan, he had no idea who she was. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'll give you some of his reactions to some of the matches and stuff like that. But that was fun. And then I went to Fremont, and we were gonna meet up. And I was telling you that I was getting kind of tired and I was gonna leave, but man, I got hot on that goddamn roulette table, and I was there for a while. But I went down and got steak and truffle mashed potatoes, and that was phenomenal. Sunday, what'd you do Sunday? You went to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I went to WrestleMania that whole morning. I was struggling on whether I would go or not, but I always get FOMO, especially if I, basically, not basically, I absolutely, plan this event for the WrestleMania events to actually go. So I'm like, I was with you. I was gonna be like, man, I should just chill out with Rucker and just. But then last minute, I'm like, fuck it, man. You only live once. Like, even though I don't feel like paying for this, I'm gonna be what 70 years old one day, hopefully, God willing, and be like, man, wish I would have saved that little bit of money and not went to WrestleMania. That sure did me. I'm not. No, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I might. So I went in there. I went with the plan on just seeing how low I could get the cost to go before I went in there. So I just got a Uber out there before I even bought the ticket, and those prices were not budging at all. I thought they were gonna dip between what I paid last year for like the higher level seats, and they never dipped because I paid like a little over 100 for like where Sting sitting at last year for 40 the second night because I wasn't gonna go to that either, but I ended up going. But yeah, like you said, they're trying to price people out, man. I paid more money than what we paid for our seats, for higher seats for night two. So take that for what it's worth. But yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you paid that much. So, um, I knew you were going, but I was gonna tell you like I'm going to my buddy's house. You're invited to come over. He came and picked me up. Uh, we were actually gonna have a couple people, like my buddy Joey that lives in Atlanta. He was supposed to go out there and he didn't. So we were thinking about doing night two at his house anyway because he decided he wasn't gonna go. But it was cool. I was like, let's stop by the liquor store. He's like, why? I got whiskey in my house. I was like, word. So we was over there. We got drunk, watched WrestleMania, and then he was too drunk to drive, so I took an Uber out to downtown before I Ubered back home. But yeah, I didn't know you paid that much to go to nights. Night two's tickets. I looked at them Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and I was like, damn, it's more to sit at the top. And we had good fucking seats on Saturday. I thought like we were
Yeah,
in
we
the
did.
club level. We
Mhm.
waited, and shout out to you because I told everybody that was listening. I was like, EJ was fucking right. Like I was nervous. I'm one of those people that like buying my tickets when they go on sale, so I know that I have them. And EJ was like, "Nah, chill the fuck out. Just, just
Yeah.
wait a minute." And it worked. You were right. I was probably annoying the hell out of you every fucking 3 days. I'd be like, "Have you seen the prices yet? We should get these." And you were like, "Just chill out. Just chill out." Um, so the tickets we had Saturday were really fucking good. But yeah, I wanted to go Sunday because I had an inkling that Becky would be there,
Mhm.
and I was, if you would have told me Sunday at 4 o'clock Vegas time, you think The Rock's gonna be here? You goddamn right, he's gonna be here. And I would have been so mad and so disappointed that I paid all that money and he wasn't there. Um, but how was night two in person?
It was pretty electric in there, especially actually when we actually get into the meat and potatoes of the event, certain parts of it. I was sitting next to this one young lady. She was like in her 20s. You know, she's a little bit of a tomboy, but she was like so into the event, like asking me questions about almost like a kayfabe questions. Like she halfway didn't know it was a work, but like she was asking me like who would win this event and this event, and like I was hitting on all of them. Like every time she asked me something, I was like, I think this is gonna happen in her head, and she's like, how'd you know? I'm like, I watched too much of this shit.
This is where you're supposed to say, "Oh, I have a podcast. You should listen to it. Check it out. Like you can hear my predictions on there. I'll give you a shout out on the next episode."
Yeah, I know when to pick and choose whether to plug us in and not make it awkward, and the opportunity never came. But yeah, so the only thing I
Plot
missed
twist.
on was that
Plot
what's that?
twist. It would only be awkward because EJ went home with the girl after Sunday night.
I mean, beauty. Shout out to the young lady. Like I said, she was tomboyish, and you
Ain't
know,
nothing wrong with that.
not those type, not those type of vibes. But yeah, the only thing like she asked me who was that.
Sometimes that's the best.
Yeah, no, not my thing. But like I said, shout out to her because I doubt she's listening because I didn't give her the event, the info like Rucker said. But back to the matter at hand. Yeah, so the only thing I missed on when she asked about, she was like, "Who you think is gonna be Randy's opponent?" And I'm like, probably like a Rusev or Alistair, and your boy Hendry came out. So, but other than that, it was pretty solid. Pretty much same vibes as the night one we went to.
Yeah. And then Monday, my flight left at 2. I called down. I woke up at like 6:30, and I called downstairs. I was like, "Can I get a late checkout?" Because I didn't want to leave at 11 and go to the airport. So I left at like 12:30. Airport was fucking packed out the gil. It was like WrestleMania at the airport. There's so many people there. Luckily,
Hmm.
your boy has TSA pre-check. Walked right through. I was in and out of security in like 7 minutes. Um, but yeah, Monday, I didn't really do anything. I just kind of laid in my hotel room, uh, finished off the bottle of rum that I had, and went and got something to eat. Gambled just a little bit, just trying to see what was gonna hit. Nothing really hit. So came back to my room, showered, shaved, packed up all my shit, which was everywhere, and hit the airport and came on home yesterday.
Yeah, so after I left night two, like you were at Fremont, so I was gonna meet up with you. So I walk from the what you call it, the Allegiant Stadium to where did I walk to first? I walked to Luxor first, and I looked at, the Uber prices. I'm like, no, sir, I gotta wait for these prices to go down because they were like $70, $80 one way, and I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that still dumb shit.
Yeah.
So I went to get some food at their food court, and then I walked over to your hotel, Excalibur, to see if I could like manipulate the prices, and it didn't go down. So I just hung out there. I accidentally stumbled into, those guys on YouTube, What Culture?
Yeah.
I stumbled into their little party with the side dude, and he had almost there. So it didn't cost to go in. I just walked in there for like literally like 5 minutes. And then that's when you text me. You're like, I'm about to leave the Fremont, so I'm like, I'll just wait for you to get here. And I'm like, man. So I thought about that for like 10 minutes. I'm like, who knows when he's gonna get there? I'm like, I need to make my way back while I have these as lowest prices as I did on going back to my place. I think it dipped down to like 17 to get back to my place. I'm like, let me hop on that before it go back up. And so, yeah, that's one thing that I don't think I'll ever do going back to Vegas because I try to save myself a little money by getting a hotel like slightly off the strip. It wasn't like too far. It was off of Tropicana, which intercepts with Las Vegas Boulevard. But it's like almost like a triangle between the hotel I was at, the Palms, which is a little bit off the strip too, and then like the area where you staying at. So it was like only like a 5-6 minute drive, but that's like a hour-long walk if you were even attempt to try to do
Yeah.
that. I was at the Orleans, so it was like the rooms were pretty decent, but man, those Uber drives kept racking up, like to get to NXT or to get to
Yeah.
SmackDown. Like it'd be like 21 ways, so you keep racking those up. That adds up. And the cheapest one way ride I was able to get was like maybe $8, which I was fortunate. But other than that, it'd be like 20 each way each time, and that racks up. So next time I'll be at the strip.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, how many times when you go to Vegas do you need to get to as many different places as we did, though? You know what I mean? Like,
That's
usually
true.
when you go to Vegas, you kind of know where you're going. You're not in a hurry to get there. You just kind of do your thing. Like, I've never bought as many Ubers as I did this past weekend. Between Ubers and the fucking whiskey doubles I was buying at the Westgate, that's where I spent the most money at this weekend. Like, I wish I wouldn't have did either of them. Everything else I don't have a problem with spending money on, but those two things was just like, God damn, like I spent a lot of fucking money on those.
And then another thing, like, how do they keep getting away with these drink prices? Like, I mean, I guess that's the way to keep people sober and not belligerent, but $20 for a regular drink, that's like absurd. I know they do that in big cities like New York and LA, but that's
Vegas
just
is a
seems
big
so.
city. It's also
Yeah, that's just
that it's like
yeah,
people are just like, oh, it's Vegas. Of course it costs a lot. That's no excuse. It's the same Jack Daniels in Vegas as it is in Atlanta. Like, there's nothing special about it.
exactly. And there you go. Like Atlanta is a huge city too, and you don't see them having prices like that. I know cost of living is a determining factor, but still, Atlanta's a pretty expensive city to live in.
I walked outside my elevator at my hotel and I was trying to get a Gatorade and a Coke Zero. Well, Pepsi Zero, because they didn't have Coke anywhere. Um, and the girl told me they were $6.49 a piece. I said, "Is there something special in them?" She's like, "No, they're just regular, but it's Vegas." I was like, "Cool, never mind. I'm not about to pay $13 for a Coke and a Gatorade. Like, I'll drink water out the fucking faucet in the bathroom. I'll take my
So
chance."
it's absurd. And then, like you said, people are still gonna pay it, so it's not like they're gonna change. I don't know. Maybe one day the bubble will burst, which I'm hoping, but it's a fucking absurd.
Let's actually get into some wrestling, EJ. Let's review WrestleMania, and um, I guess we could do Stand and Deliver. I hadn't watched it, so you want to talk about Stand and Deliver? You're more than welcome to. That's a
So I actually made my way and went to Stand to Deliver in person on Saturday, and I was like, I wasn't disappointed, but I was a little bit surprised that. I mean, I guess not. If you're thinking about it, I shouldn't have been that surprised. It was a lot less people at this year's Stand and Deliver than it was last year. Like,
ticket prices
yeah,
again.
but the ticket prices for Stand and Deliver are actually decent. It's
Oh, when
less
I
than.
looked at them, I was like, nah, I ain't going. I only
I
looked at
was
them one time though.
Oh, I was lower level for less than $100. So I don't think ticket prices is where the thing. I think it was the time. People were
Yeah,
probably, didn't want to wake up that early because like half of the arena was tarped off. So I was like, oh, interesting.
I
But
feel like they
yeah,
should maybe they should do Stand and Deliver on Thursday night. Because Friday you've got
yeah,
SmackDown, but like that's a long day, you know? You go to Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania in the same day, and then go to WrestleMania the next day. Like that's a lot. And you went to you went to 4 shows in 3 days.
yeah, it was a lot. But maybe in the past they could have done it, but they probably don't want to step on TNA's toes now because TNA had a pay-per-view in Vegas on Thursday.
Hmm. Yeah, because TNA's pay-per-views are normally on Fridays.
So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I think it's just because the early start time, and
Oh
I
my
guess that'll
God, Tessa
vary.
Blanchard didn't win the belt, did she? I hadn't even looked at that.
Yeah, that's the only thing I hadn't caught up with yet is that TNA show that they did on Thursday. So I'm gonna watch that sometime during the week.
She
But
didn't win.
yeah,
I saw her at WrestleCon, and she didn't have the belt with her. So Masha's probably still the champ.
well, good then. Um, yeah, so yeah, the event was solid though. They started off with your girl Gigi and Tatum.
Mm.
They won their four-way to the number one contenders now. Oh, one thing we got to talk about is the Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. Hypocrisy in wrestling is running rampant. I always hear about in the past, especially like around the Punk days and after that, about why is WWE or why is AEW fans so worried about WWE and why are the wrestlers going on TV? And it's mostly criticism from the fans. Like we always said, these wrestlers are friends with each other. So, but they did take some pot shots on TV. But you probably saw this on the week before. It's been a chant that's been, gaining traction from week to week of the Tony Fumble chants.
Yeah.
They were like annoying through the whole match. Like, why? Like, why?
Yeah, like you said, like a lot of these wrestlers are friends. Like if you watch social media this weekend, there's wrestlers from TNA, AEW, everywhere cheering for the people at WrestleMania, like happy for them and shit like that. They don't do the tribalism shit, so why are you doing it?
Yeah, so they did that for like a good bit of the match, and then they said thank you, Tony, like trying to be smart asses about it. But it was a cool match, and the other matches were fine. Heck and Tank, I don't think we predicted them to win, so that was, I guess, pretty shocking that they won. But it's wrestling. So Ruka, she's shining her match. Dark State and D'Angelo was fine. Vicure, those women tore it up in the 4-way. But my match of the night was probably the main event. I think those guys put on a show. So all in all, Stand and Deliver was a good show.
Well, there was no way Tessa Blanchard would have won the world title because it was a mixed tag match between Joe Hendry and Masha versus Frankie Kazarian and Tessa Blanchard. So luckily she doesn't have the title.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully it stays that way, but I got a feeling they're gonna put it on her eventually. Yuck.
But yeah, I bet Stand and Deliver was a lot of fun. Like I went to an NXT show here in Atlanta and it was a lot of fun. Bianca and Naomi were there. NXT's they're more than developmental now. I know they are developmental, but like that's a big production that they do now.
I mean, they don't even call it NXT Stand and Deliver. It's just WWE Stand and Deliver. So slowly but surely, they're turning it into the third brand. So we'll see how that develops moving forward.
All right, EJ, let's run through some WrestleMania talk. I actually went back and listened to our predictions, and I think you beat me by like 2. I was listening to it at work, and I was keeping score of like how many we got wrong. I think I got 4 wrong. You got 2 wrong over both nights.
Yeah, I think I know the one I got wrong too, and I'm like, why did I pick that? But whatever. Players fuck up.
One of them I got wrong, which was Dominic Mysterio. I literally said you picked Dom first, and I was like, well, shit, I'm not going to pick him now because you picked him. So then I picked Braun Breaker, but I literally said, damn, I was going to pick Dominic. But I was just trying not to. I think we had picked like the same guy like 4 or 5 matches in a row, and I was trying to be different. But
and also, I think you shouldn't count the Rey Mysterio match because that wasn't the original match. If I knew it would have been Phoenix, I would have picked El Grande.
I was so drunk at WrestleMania, it took me like 5 minutes into the match to be like, that ain't Rey Mysterio.
Shit. Shit.
I remember leaning over and asking you, like, I thought he was supposed to fight Rey Mysterio. You're like, yeah, he got hurt. Meanwhile, the match has been going on for like 5 minutes, and his name was Ray. He wore a mask, like whatever. He had tattoos. It ain't hard to get that shit confused if you don't know the ins and outs of everything.
And in the Vince era, we know he would have just been Phoenix or something else. I'm surprised they let it rock, but I guess it's a new era.
Night 1 at WrestleMania starts out with the World Heavyweight Championship. Main event, Jey Uso defeats Gunther by a fucking tap out. I went back and watched this match purposely to see how many super kicks there were, and it was only 2.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that in person. You're like, when he's gonna finally super kick him? And then when he did it, I'm like, there it is.
Oh, did I? I didn't realize I said that. That's funny. I thought the match was good. I thought the storytelling was good. Like Gunther choking people out, including Jimmy, in front of Jey, and for Jey to make that be the way he won the title, It was one, unexpected, and two, I thought that was good storytelling.
So maybe I have to do like you and go back and watch it. So, because commentary is a big part of the storytelling, and when you're in person, you don't have that. So, in person, I thought it was okay. Still don't like the ending. Even if I go back and watch it, I still won't like that ending. Just because how sudden he tapped out. And I know a lot of people have been harping on that, but not even just how sudden he tapped out. Because push that aside. I just don't like. I mean, you're building up to WrestleMania. You want the crowd to be able to 1, 2, and explode. Like when you tap out, it just comes out of nowhere. Even if he would have struggled with it or passed out, I just wish he would have got the pin on him. But that's just
I
me
think
nitpicking.
I think the reaction was good though. Like when he
It
did
was
it, I think it was everybody was like, "Oh shit, he tapped out." Also, I think Jay did a lot of Gunther's moves in that match, which commentary pointed out. They were like, "This is like Jay Uso just copying all the Gunther's moves." Like he power bombed him. He did the way he ended the match was the way I've been praising Gunther for 2 years now. Is when you smell blood in the water, you just fucking go. And Jay fucking super kicked him, speared him, splashed him 3 times, and then choked him out. He never gave Gunther a chance. And yeah, I know people are upset about it, but if you think about like if this was a real life fight, so you're a real fighter, and you put motherfuckers in the chokehold for like 2 years, and if you hold on to it, you could kill them basically. Gunther got in that chokehold and couldn't get out. He's like, shit, that's it. I better tap or I'm going to sleep. And also, Jay had like whooped his ass for like the 3 minutes before that. Like when he hit that power bomb, he literally power bombed him, super kicked him, speared him, 3 splashes, and then choked him. You would have fucking gave up too. And it was
I
all
get
like back to back to back. There was no taunting the crowd. There was no bullshit in between. Like he literally did what Gunther does.
Yeah, and I get that, but I just like having it where you're like looking back and putting his highlights together. Think about how special the Kofi Mania when he got that pin and the look he did right when he got the pin. I was just thinking about it from that type of perspective, and you know, the 1, 2, 3, just the traditional WrestleMania kind of finish. But I mean,
I hear
like you
you.
said, people still went crazy for it. So what do I know?
I hear you. I could see the third splash being the one that beat him and people being able to count to it. It was definitely unexpected when he like, and watching it back on TV too, like Jay had this look on his face like, oh yeah, he's ready. And he just fucking, it was like a realization of, I can choke this motherfucker out right now. He's getting up. And he just grabbed him and put him in a chokehold and went down with it. But I understand what you're saying, definitely. Like, kind of like when Jay beat Braun Breaker and the crowd was able to count along 1, 2, 3. I get that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, World Tag Team Championships, a New Day defeat the War Raiders. I missed this entire match because I was waiting in line for food.
Yeah, I was about to say you missed that match, and I mean, shout out to the New Day, legendary tag team match, but match was nothing to get excited for really. But at least they got the tag team belts on the card, and what is it, their 12th title win?
Yeah, they're damn near up there with John Cena.
Yeah, most ever in tag team history, right?
I would have loved it if like, because you told me you said they won, they took off running. I would have loved if they ran over to the fucking table and Big E was still sitting there and they like danced in his face and shit, like rubbing in his face, like, yeah, nigga, we don't need you no more. But I guess that's a
That
little
was
bit too
funny.
mean. Because Big E was at the after show when we were walking by.
Yeah, post show, yeah. Yeah, not too much else to say about that on my end.
I'll say that the teriyaki chicken I had was really good that I waited in line for. It
And
was phenomenal.
those motherfuckers ran out of rice when I tried to get it. Go figure.
Hey, and it was like $13.99 for it. Like that's the best price you're gonna get in Vegas at a stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Jade Cargill defeats Naomi in what I thought was probably Jade's best match since she's been in WWE.
Yeah, definitely her best match in WWE. probably her second best match, in my opinion, next to the Chris Statlander match on her way out. But yeah, I'm glad she did her thing, and I'm glad it went off flawlessly. Because if she would have fucked up, the internet trolls would have came out. So
Oh
shout
yeah.
out to both ladies. Yeah, shout out to both ladies for putting on that match.
Shout out to Naomi to change into a heel character when she's been like the consummate babyface for so long, and to be able to, and I don't mean to say this in a derogatory term, but to carry Jade to a really good match, her best one, like that had a lot to do with Naomi also. Jade's worked her ass off, don't get me wrong, but Naomi had a lot to do with how good that match was.
Yeah, and shout out to Naomi for cutting a hell of a promo at Wale Mania.
Oh man. Naomi wasn't about that bullshit. You motherfuckers been cheering against me. I was like, what? Wait a minute.
Fuck me for what the fuck me for?
I've been on your side the whole time. Jacob Fatu defeats LA Knight for the United States Championship.
Hey, I've always been on the LA Knight bandwagon since he finally got his name back. I know you haven't been the biggest LA Knight fan. Some of his matches, we're like, I think he should have eliminated that where he jumps up to the top rope because he slipped up like a couple times on SmackDown. But
About 7-8 times in a row.
you gotta give this man his props. This is probably one of my favorite matches of the weekend. He put his work boots on. I'll let you talk before I get into what I like about the man.
I mean, he didn't have a choice. Fatu was in there wearing his ass out.
What do you mean he didn't have a choice? I feel like over the past few months, he's been low key putting on some really good matches as far as the in ring stuff goes.
I don't know.
Maybe a light switch it up.
You could be right. I fast forward through LA Knight's matches though.
Yeah, like that reversal. What was the thing that they reversed?
Oh yeah, where Fatu did the moonsault and he caught him in the BFG.
Yes, that was dope. Really good match, and I think I predicted LA Knight to win, so it's the one I didn't predict. And you predicted Fatu to basically squash him, but they put on a pretty competitive match. I dug it. Like I said, it's one of my favorite matches of the weekend. And Jacob Fatu, your new U.S. champion. I don't know like how they're gonna book him after this. Of course, he's gonna probably run through that division, but is he gonna have competitive matches or he's just gonna be squashing motherfuckers? That I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, SmackDown after Mania is going to be just as good as Raw, probably, where there's going to be a lot of developments, which we'll have to get into eventually. El Grande Americano defeats Rey Fenix. Not a lot to talk about here, but yeah.
Good match. That was a good match though. What about he did like the 550 backflip? I don't know what it was called, but that shit was crazy. I was in line getting fries at that point, but I was watching it on Peacock on my phone when I was in line, and when he did that shit, I was like, oh shit, I don't know how it looked in person.
Oh, it looked dope. Like we all freaked out, and shout out to the people in our section. Like, I know I get drunk and talk a lot of shit, but everybody there was just having a good time. Like we were all getting along, and except for during the Charlotte and Tiffany match.
Yeah, like you said, our section was pretty live, so shout out to them.
And the Charlotte and Tiffany match is the one next up. Tiffany Stratton defeats Charlotte Flair in the longest match of the night. Also the most awkward. I don't think Charlotte is good. I think she has really good matches with really good wrestlers. But those wrestlers have to have known her and been around her enough to where she listens to them. But when it's somebody younger and newer, she takes the lead and it doesn't go well.
I mean, she's athletic, and like you said, she has to have a good, partner on the other side for her to put it on like a bang of a match. But she's like no ring general where she could lead the younger wrestler to the pasture. So, and it's been like polarizing opinions on this part. I think we're both on the same page. I wasn't a big fan of this match. It was some sloppy, especially watching in person. But it's like half the other side are saying like they liked the match a lot. That's how real fight should be. It shouldn't be pretty. So
It wasn't
I
a
don't know
real
how you.
fight. That was a wrestling match.
But then in the same vein, you said like sometimes, like when you talk about the Gunther, sometimes like in real fights, you just get hit with some shit and you just can't respond to it.
Right. Okay. So I agree. Sometimes I like my wrestling a little sloppy to where it looks like a real fight. But this was awful. Like they were doing shit where it was like, did y'all even talk going into this week? Like, are y'all communicating? Also, from sitting in the crowd, you can't have two people wearing the exact same thing. All I saw
Yeah.
was blonde hair, fake tan, and fake titties flying everywhere. I had no idea who was who.
Yeah, thank goodness we had closer seats because if you were up there with Sting, that then you would have definitely been confused watching that match about who's who. But they definitely didn't talk before the match because they probably would have coordinated on outfit selection. But yeah, I got to go back and watch basically this whole card with the commentary because maybe it comes off a little bit better. But in person, this wasn't it, Chief.
I'm gonna reveal something to the listeners that they will not believe, and the only reason I'm gonna reveal it is because EJ's here to corroborate my story. About halfway through this match, the whiskey kicked in, and I don't know what sparked it, but everybody there chanting against Charlotte made me cheer for her. I even started a "Let's Go Charlotte" chant versus the "Charlotte sucks" chant with the guys next to me. Now, I was happy she lost when it happened, and the people in my section clearly don't know that I really don't like Charlotte. I had people turning around talking shit to me when Charlotte lost. Like, but I don't know. It was fun to cheer for Charlotte. It'll never happen again, but
Yeah, man, you just like to push back, like you said. If a lot of people start going one way, you're like, fuck this, I'm gonna go the other way. Habitual line crosser, as Dave Chappelle would say, or Charlie Murphy.
hey, it was me and the lady that took a picture of us at WrestleMania and like two other people cheering for Charlotte. I don't know. I just felt like as much as I don't like her, she is still like a 13-time champion and all that. Like everybody just can't be mad at her. Like I thought I was the only one, but it turns out everybody was.
Yeah, I wasn't cheering for either one of them, so I just sat on my ass. But yeah, people were into it, so can't knock the fans for what they like.
Triple threat match in the main event. Seth Rollins defeats Roman Reigns and CM Punk with a turn of Paul Heyman. I don't want to brag, EJ, but I called this shit like 3 months ago. Maybe not
I
three
mean,
months ago, but as soon as it was announced, I called it.
we all kind of thought this would happen, especially how they kind of telegraphed it last or the week before
Don't
when
try to. I'm saying I called it way before everybody else. Don't try to circumcise my fucking prediction skills.
I'm not, but had a feeling this would go too, and I probably said it. I gotta go back and listen to the episode. I probably said it as well on the show. I wish they could have just have it just been a straight up surprise. I know I get why they did it on the last episode of Raw. You owe me a favor, but I think the shock and awe would have been even more if they just did it out of nowhere. But other than that, a lot of psychology in the beginning of the match, but when they finally ramped up, I thought this was a really good match.
Yeah.
Especially like the climax and how they finished it out. So this was definitely up there for match of the weekend for me as far
I
as
haven't
the level.
I haven't gone back and watched this on TV yet, but I noticed some things in person, like when Heyman hit Punk in the nuts and gave Roman the chair, and Roman's about to hit Seth. We all saw it coming because Paul like literally moved from one side of Roman to the other, and he was like leaning into it. But the thing a lot of people probably didn't see was that Seth knew Heyman was going to do that. He never turned around. He never looked. He just looked at the listen. He listened to the crowd, and then he just stuck his hand out like Roman does for Paul to hand him the chair. Like this was a plan the entire time. excuse me, kind of like last night on Raw when he knew Breaker wasn't gonna spear him, and Breaker spears Punk. Like Seth been pulling strings for a while now, and I said it weeks ago. Seth has to win this match. Like he's taking too many L's. Punk definitely can't win. I think if I was a betting man, Punk would have been probably the lowest on the favorites to win this match. There's no way he could have won. It would have went Roman, Seth, Punk, but Seth had to win.
Yeah.
And like you said, the storytelling was really good. I need to know now. I can see why Paul Heyman turned on Punk. Like you made me choose, you put me in. Like Punk was being a dick to him. He kept like instigating shit with Roman and making Roman like be mad at Paul and all that. He's kind of being a dick. But I can't see why he turned on. And if the other part of the storytelling, because I was looking at the screen when it happened, when he hits CM Punk in the nuts, he looked like he was gonna cry. When he hit Roman in the nuts, he didn't just nut shot him. He like kept fucking doing it. Like, and he had this look on his face like "fuck you." So there was like heartbreak on one side and "fuck you" on the other side, and I need to know why.
Well, you said you could see why he did it to Punk. You could see why he did it to Roman too. I mean, of course, Roman has been the tribal chief for the past 4 years, and he's brought Paul along for the ride. But over this past 4 years, he's been like leading by fair. Like at times, Paul looked like he was fearing for his life being with Roman. Yes, my tribal chief. This. And then Roman just disappeared and let him get mauled by his cousins, savage cousins at that. So you can see why he turned on Roman as well.
Seth Rollins gets the win. That's the end of night one. And then night two happens. So I watched night two with my buddy Brent, like I was talking about a little while ago. And he hadn't watched wrestling in about 10 years. So it was fun to get his reaction on some of this. And I'll try to remember, like I said, we were drinking a lot of Maker's Mark. I'll try to remember some of the stuff like watching it with not a novice fan, but like a non-regular watching fan.
Did Brent move to Vegas recently? When did he move to Vegas?
Probably 5 or 6 years ago.
I guess that's when he kind of, got out of touch with wrestling when he moved to Vegas.
Well, he moved to Biloxi first for gambling, and then he moved to Maryland, and then he moved to Vegas. So he like I said, the last WrestleMania he watched was the one in San Francisco where Triple H beat Sting. Yeah.
That was literally 10 years ago.
Yep.
Hey, yeah.
So the night kicks off with the Women's World Championship triple threat, and I immediately tell Brent, I said, Io Sky comes out, and I said, I fucking love this wrestler. I was like, she is so good. Like, she doesn't speak English that well. There's never any storytelling, but her matches when they're big are dope. And he was like, yeah, okay, we'll see. And halfway through the match, Io Sky does like her fourth or fifth move, and she jumps up. She does that little thing where she's doing this shit right here. And Brent was like, "Oh my god, I love her." He's like, "I want her to win so bad." So that was fun. This was a really good match. I thought Bianca would win. I thought they would give more reverence to her undefeated streak. But right off the bat, Michael Cole was like, "Oh, she's 4-1 because she didn't win the Battle Royal." I'm like, it doesn't fucking count. But not only did she not win the match, she actually took the pin. But this match was phenomenal.
Why doesn't the Battle Royal count? It's still
This is not a real match. It's you. Like, if you lose a Royal Rumble, does that go on your win-loss record? There's 30 other people in it. You got thrown over the top rope. You didn't get pinned. You didn't submit. You didn't get counted out. You got thrown over the top rope.
It still goes towards your Royal Rumble record, but it still counts as a match at WrestleMania, technically, even though it's not one-on-one.
It doesn't count as a loss, though. Not everybody takes a loss when they go. I don't know.
It is like it's kind of like a gray area, but yeah. But back to the topic at hand. Yeah, that's probably my match of the weekend. I was talking about the Rollins triple threat. And I'm not really a fan of like the triple threats at Mania, unless it's for a title, which this was. So can't really complain on that front. But yeah, all three women put their working boots on, and the stadium, it translated well. Like, we were really into this match. It had a lot of spots that make it go like, whoa.
Yeah.
But I figured that Io would win because why else interject her in this match? And I felt like they didn't want to show favoritism to either Rhea or Bianca. And why else put her in this match unless she's going to win and go over and kind of get the rub from both of the women? So I feel like the right person won the match. I guess we'll see what goes with Io forward, because at Raw, we saw our girl, or your girl, Stephanie McCoy, come out. So right off the rip, after defending the title on Sunday, she had Stephanie McCoy to deal with. So hats off to Io.
And it was just such a good match. Like, the athleticism between Io and Bianca, like, I don't think Rhea's like the best wrestler going, but she held her own in this match. But Bianca and Io definitely like brought the athleticism and the everything in it. And again, Bianca got booed, Rhea got cheered. I just don't fucking get it.
I don't get it either. But going back to Bianca, we didn't see Rhea or her on Raw. And like you said,
Rhea was on Raw.
Oh yeah, we did see Rhea. She came out. Okay, so
Yeah,
that gives my point more credence. Bianca wasn't on Raw. She took the pin. You think they finally gonna switch her over to being a heel? Because like you said, they didn't give a fuck about WrestleMania record. Like, you eating this pin?
well, technically she's on SmackDown.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, she won the Elimination Chamber, so she had to go after Rhea. So she's been on Raw going into Mania, but technically she's still a SmackDown wrestler. She was drafted number 1 on SmackDown. Jey Uso was drafted number 1 on Raw.
So I don't really know what's gonna happen to Charlotte either. So maybe they pull the trigger on Bianca going heel and have her mollywop Tiffany.
I don't know. We'll have to see. The draft is looming over the horizon also. You don't know if the draft is going to be after or before Backlash. So I caution like trying to decipher where storylines are going until after the draft.
Now, is this set in stone that there is a draft? Because remember they were doing the shake-up or whatever at the beginning of the year, or the free agency period, or whatever they called it, transfer portal.
I'm pretty sure they said there was a draft this year.
Okay, yeah. I just hope with this draft they're not afraid to shake it up and they'll mix some of these championships up. Like, that's the point of renaming them, right? Not brand specific, so you could mix it up during the draft. So
yeah,
fuck it, do that. But yeah, we'll see.
These matches aren't in order, but I'm going to go with how they're listed just because I don't want to miss anything. Randy Orton in 3 minutes and 8 seconds defeats Joe Hendry. And again, I'm watching this with my buddy Brent, who has no idea who Joe Hendry is. And he kept saying, why does this motherfucker keep turning around looking at the camera? In 3 minutes and 8 seconds, Joe Hendry did his little turn around at the camera 4 times.
Well, that kind of played into the match because the 4th time he did it, RKO.
Bro, we rewound that so many times. The camera work on that was phenomenal. I don't know what it looked like in the stadium, like if y'all could see Randy Orton coming up to do it, but the camera work on TV was just Joe Hendry, and he turns around and looks, and all of a sudden, literally out of nowhere, you see Randy Orton just flying across the screen to RKO. We popped like we were in the fucking stadium.
Yeah, we kind of could see him coming, so I got to go back and watch that because that side of it didn't translate watching it in an arena. But yeah, I mean, you got some people saying that, man, why your TNA champion going out there and losing in how many minutes? But it's still like the biggest stage on the planet, so it's still a good look. Wins or losses, that Joe Hendry got that look, even though it happened on injury.
Like Joe Hendry to beat Randy Orton?
I don't know.
Like, I'm sorry, it's TNA and it's Joe Hendry. I could see if it was like when Sting was the champion or RVD or Kurt Angle. It's Joe Hendry. He ain't beating Randy Orton at his 20th WrestleMania. Like, grow the fuck up, people.
I'm guessing they wanted it to be like a longer match, but it's time constraints they have. And at this point, we know TNA is basically a feeder system to WWE, so it's still a good look. And Joe Hendry will probably eventually make his way over to WWE. I don't know who his contract looks like.
There's a lot of people that watch WrestleMania that had no idea who Joe Hendry was. And they saw the crowd go crazy for him. They saw him do a couple cool moves. They saw his little theme song. They saw all of that. And you know what? They're probably going to be like, TNA World Champion, how do I watch TNA? If, say 3 million people watched WrestleMania, and half of them were like, how do I watch TNA? And then half of those people, which is what, 750,000, were like, I'm actually going to go and try to seek it out and watch it. Those are ratings, man. Now, I know all those people don't get the channel that it comes on. But if you get damn near 1 million people to be like, I need to find out what this TNA shit is about. Even if it's like 100,000 people, that's a win for TNA. What do people want? Joe Hendry, he's a TNA World Champion. Cool. TNA is not the WWE. We all know that. TNA is nowhere near where it was 10, 15 years ago when they had the Main Event Mafia and all that in there. When they had like huge stars in TNA, Kurt Angle, Sting, Kevin Nash, Booker T. Now, these guys are past their prime, but they were stars. Joe Hendry is not Randy Orton. What do you motherfuckers want? He got a WrestleMania match, one-on-one. You know how many Hall of Famers and people like that would kill to get what Joe Hendry had?
A lot. People are just complaining just to complain. Like you said, people be like, oh, that's Joe Hendry. He looks cool. Where did I watch him? Then they find out it's Access TV. You're like, never mind. Nobody gets Access channel. But I get what you're saying. But I think
that's why I'm saying like a percentage of the people that actually want to seek him out would be able to watch it.
100,000 bump would be very generous. But they also on YouTube. If you pay like the YouTube Plus, you can see the Impact episodes. So you could definitely drive viewers to maybe get that $1 subscription. I think it's like $1 a week or something like that. So,
and in this day and age, that's how people watch TV, EJ. Like, so I mean, I don't know. And also, it's not like he came out and Randy Orton just immediately fucking beat him. Like, yeah, it was only 3 minutes, but he got caught showboating.
You know? Yeah, it made sense. And like you said, it's not the TNA of old. I feel like that 9-year window from like 2005 to 2014 when they were on Spike, that's a whole different company from what they are now. It hasn't been the same since. So definitely a good look for TNA. So people just want to complain just to complain.
AJ Styles loses to Logan Paul.
I was very underwhelmed by this match. Maybe did you watch? You did watch it in person because you weren't there. So it didn't translate well in the arena. Not a lot of fans were invested in it, and AJ Styles could wrestle with a broomstick, but for some reason didn't really hit the peak that I thought this match would. It wasn't bad, but I thought they were gonna like put on like a straight up banger, like the Cena versus AJ Styles match, something like that.
It could have been the Maker's Mark, but I thought this was a really good match.
Might have been.
Me and my buddy Brent enjoyed the shit out of this. He was like, Logan Paul, what does that sound familiar? I was like, him and his brother do boxing also, and they're big YouTubers and shit. And he's like, and he just wrestles? I'm like, yeah. It's like, oh, he's really fucking good. I was like, yeah, he is pretty dope. Also, side note, watching night 2, Pat McAfee sucks. Like, this dude is not good. It's like he always has to say something at the worst time. So my buddy was like, Pat McAfee does this like all the time. I said, well, when it's not college football season, he commentates on Monday Night Raw and pay-per-views. And I can't remember what point it was, but something important was happening. And he goes, who the fuck is that talking right now? I'm like, They sound so stupid. I said it's Pat McAfee. Like he just shits on moments and just it's constantly talking when he shouldn't. Night 2 was a bad night for Pat McAfee.
Hmm. Well, I feel like he's become like a caricature of himself. I think his persona from his podcast is seeping onto the WWE product, which is not a good thing necessarily. Because when he first came in, it was almost like a breath of fresh air because he leaned more so to the heel side of things. But
Yeah.
now he's just like the goofy guy that's just I don't even know what he is. He's just neutral. And when he was leaning into the heel stuff when he first got in, I thought this guy's pretty good, especially from coming out the outside world of WWE. But like you said, now it's just kind of annoying.
Sin City Street Fight, Damian Priest loses to Drew McIntyre. A funny moment happened with my buddy. I was telling him, I said, yeah, last year, Drew McIntyre, he did the coolest thing. He grabbed his cell phone and took a selfie of him beating up somebody and was like bored at work. And I shit you not, EJ. As soon as I said that, he fucking did a move to Damian Priest and grabbed his cell phone and went and took a selfie. And I got on Twitter right after, and it says, "Ha ha ha, still bored at work." It literally happened just like that, and me and Brent sat there and laughed like hell about it. But this was a good match, a good finish. That fucking Claymore into the chair. I don't know what that looked like in person, but on TV, that shit was rough.
Yeah, this was a fun match. The street fights and the hardcore matches have a different feel. So it wasn't like mat wrestling, but it was just like the car crash that you expect. And we were really into it. So I enjoyed this match as well. And shout out to Drew McIntyre. He's like the ultimate troll. And I think eventually he's going to naturally turn back face because the fans seem to really be into it, especially coming out of that Punk feud. And he needed this WrestleMania win, especially after what happened last year. He won and lost. So shout out to Drew McIntyre.
You had Dominic Mysterio become your Intercontinental Champion with a surprising reaction to Dominic winning the championship as he defeats Penta, Finn Balor, and Braun Breaker by pinning Finn Balor.
Why you think the reaction was surprising? I've been telling you about Dom.
Yeah, but he still hasn't been getting a reaction like that. Like,
They've been kind of like hiding him backstage though, so we hadn't really got to check the temperature on him lately because he's been doing like all his promos backstage like the past 2-3 months. So it's probably been bubbling up and we just didn't know it. But yeah, that was probably my favorite moment of the weekend because being there in person, like we were going nuts. Everybody was like on their feet. That was the pop of the weekend probably, and like that was worth paying that astronomical price for tickets to seeing that moment with Dom. And like I don't get too emotionally invested in the actual bell to bell stuff a lot of the times, but that moment actually got me on my feet, and it was good, a feel good moment to see Tom get the title. He probably wasn't expecting that pop. His ass ran back to the ring.
yeah, I was
That's
just about
sending fans in a frenzy too.
Women's Tag Team Championship, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defend and lose to Lyra Valkyria and her tag team partner, Becky Lynch, who we will have a bit to discuss in about 5 or 10 minutes. Becky got a big pop, won the match. Liv
Yeah,
Morgan,
I mean,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to step on you, but
I was going to say, Liv Morgan is one of the wrestlers that my buddy hadn't seen before. And at one point, there was the hard camera side. Liv was cheek to the camera. And my buddy goes, "What's her name again?" I said, "Liv Morgan." He's all right. What you doing? He's I'm following her on Instagram. So I feel you. She was looking good. And she's a great wrestler. I don't think it should be one or the other. Like you can't be thinking that somebody Liv Morgan's a good looking woman, but she can wrestle her ass off too. Like I've been saying for I don't know how long. I know you're not on the team, but I think Liv is like literally one of the most underrated women wrestlers going right now. All because of her persona is bigger than, and people think, oh yeah, that's Liv Morgan from the fucking Riot Squad. No, it's not the same woman wrestling. Liv can go. And honestly, she was the MVP of the women's division, which is why I was pissed off that she wasn't in the title match. But she won the Slammy for Women's Wrestler of the Year also. I know it's a kayfabe award, but it just tells you that WWE's like, yeah, you fucking killed it, and it sucks that we're not putting you in a more prominent role this year. But Liv can go, man.
So her persona, she's definitely knocking it out of the park, especially from my opinion on her before she turned heel. Like, I'm into what she's doing with the Judgment Day, and she's definitely stepped her wrestling game up, especially when she first got on the main roster. But not everybody can, so I'm gonna say that as expected, but she has been up there for since 2017 or so. So, like you said, maybe that's why it's gone under the radar. But she's definitely a really, really good wrestler. But just to nitpick a little bit, could you put her in the ring with somebody that's green and still put on a banger? I don't know if she's on Becky's level yet, but like you said, she could really still go in the ring.
I mean, maybe not. Like she hadn't really had that opportunity yet to just do a one-on-one match with somebody like that, but she's gotten way better. Like, I mean, she looked good against Lyra. Lyra's not the most experienced talent out there, and everything they did look good together. She's carrying fucking Raquel Rodriguez as a partner. Because
Lyra could
Raquel
go
don't really
though.
do shit, but fucking be a big clumsy motherfucker is really all she does in these matches.
Lyra could go though. She just does not have a character. That's her one gripe. But let's see what Liv could do against Izzy Dame. When she has that match, I swear, I kid you not, I'll be on the Liv bandwagon if she carries Izzy Dame to like a 3-star match.
Why you pick Izzy Dame at everybody?
Cause she fucking sucks.
Wow. Braun Breaker's gonna spear you.
I know. So I don't want the smoke, Braun. I was just kidding.
And he's gonna spear Izzy.
Whoa. I see what you did there.
But yeah, Becky and Lyra win the tag titles to a big ovation, and Becky, I'm disappointed. Becky just put like her normal gear and shit on. Like, she didn't have a WrestleMania like outfit or anything. It was just like regular. Let's roll this out again. But
Yeah.
I was happy to see her. How was the pop in real life?
It wasn't Joe Hendry, but people were really excited. It was one of the bigger pops of the night. It wasn't big as Dom or Joe Hendry, but it was up there.
I think it was expected though.
Yeah, people kind of anticipated it. So, but it's still Becky Lynch, still the man.
Your undisputed WWE Championship match, Cody Rhodes loses to John Cena, and I'm just not.
I thought this was a hunk of shit.
Yeah, it was. And this just goes to show that one, Cody's not that guy, and two, Cena's had a couple really bad WrestleMania, like a few really bad WrestleMania matches. And Travis Scott's run-in that took fucking 13 minutes. Like, bro, get your ass down to the ring. What are you doing? Just walking. I got so many thoughts on this match we don't even have fucking time for. But I can tell you my buddy Brent did not like Cody Rhodes. He's like, how does he keep kicking out of everything? He got hit with a belt. He got hit with a chair. He got his head bounced off an open turnbuckle and then got hit with the AA. He got super AA off the top rope. My buddy was not a Cody Rhodes guy. He's basically Super Cena. This was everything Cena was back in the day.
Man, so like you said, I kind of have a lot of thoughts on that too, and the match in general. But what you said kind of got my thoughts all over the place. So Cena had bad matches in Mania. I think a lot of his reign was when I checked out. I checked out around like 06. So he had some bad matches in between then and like 2016.
Well, Austin's Theory was horrible.
I can't even remember. But you're right. I don't think I like that match. I don't think I like that match.
It was awful.
Well,
the second match versus The Rock was trash.
Before you said The Rock, who'd you say?
Austin Theory.
I thought you said somebody in between then.
Oh no, it's this past match with Cody.
I can't remember. I watched the second Rock match, but I can't remember. I know the Rock got hurt in that one. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and watch that. But you know, he's a five.
Which wasn't good.
You said Ryback?
Bray Wyatt.
Wasn't that a cinematic match? Oh, they fought at the New Orleans. I wasn't watching during that time period. Twice. I hadn't seen that match.
The match with Rusev wasn't good.
Oh, then isn't John Cena the X factor in this? The common denominator, so to
That's
speak?
what I'm saying. I'm saying Cena's had some stinkers at WrestleMania.
But you blame Cody mostly for it, though.
No, it's not. I'm saying John Cena's had some shitty matches, but I'm also saying that just proves that Cody's not that guy, because John Cena's had matches with Roman Reigns that were really good, but Cody couldn't get it out of him. This was the first. Yeah. This was the first time that Cody was the main event of WrestleMania without Roman Reigns being involved, and it was absolute dog shit.
Maybe it's the way that John Cena set it up. You know, he's a 5 moves of doom wrestler. Like, I know he had that one period they said he was wrestling his ass off. I wasn't really watching when he was the U.S. champion.
I mean, were you watching this match though? John Cena was fucking pulling out all kind of moves.
I was watching, but I don't know. Maybe I don't remember him doing a whole bunch of moves. But
he did some cool shit.
But going back to your buddy Brent's point of Cody kicking out of everything, I got to go back there and watch that match, like you said, because I feel like he overcame a whole lot more last year than this year, and it was like 50 dudes going at him last year. But maybe he was this year too. I feel like it was anticlimactic, like a belt shot, and then it was it. I'm like, okay.
I love the meme with Roman and Cody standing there, and Roman's like, it took 4 Hall of Famers to beat me last year, and it just took Travis Scott to beat you.
Yeah, and that part of it was a head scratch as well. I know they kind of had to tie it together. Like you said, he took too long to get to the ring, and he's not a wrestler. And you had him take Cody Rhodes out. I don't get it. I mean, like, if you know it's not going to be like a Matt Classic, we're looking towards the storyline side of things, and I feel like that fell flat.
If we're keeping kayfabe 100%, Triple H is in charge. We've seen him sitting at Gorilla. So in the main event of WrestleMania, Triple H is okay with Travis Scott just being like, yo, hit my music. And he don't say anything? He just lets this nigga walk out in the middle of the fucking main event?
Well, on the shoot side of things, it was just awkward in general. But going back to the kayfabe side of things, maybe The Rock told Triple H, hey, I don't care what you think, better play that dude's music when I say to play it.
Cody loses. Let's get into The Rock. If you've listened to Boot to the Face, you know that The Rock is on my Mount Rushmore of favorite wrestlers of all time. It's Sting number 1, The Rock number 2. I, Chris Rucker, April 22nd, 2025, wish The Rock would just shut the fuck up.
So
he's got McAfee today.
Oh,
talking about WrestleMania.
Really?
What the fuck were you at WrestleMania? And he's like, oh yeah, I didn't want to overshadow, and the only reason I came in the Elimination Chamber was because ticket sales were low and all this shit. You fucking asshole.
I call cap too.
Big time. This nigga a lot more than Hulk Hogan now.
Yeah. So in the grand scheme of things, if it plays out and we don't really see Rock involved with any storyline, or we never get him and Roman, I think this will be like a pretty big stain on this like whole time period, like the renaissance of wrestling in the TKO era. And you could all blame the Cody crybabies. And that's all I got to say.
Why was Travis Scott there if The Rock wasn't going to come?
I mean, he did kind of bloody him up at the Elimination Chamber.
So Rock was just like, I'm still trying to figure this fucking Rubik's Cube out, dog. Just go out there. If Cena need help, go help him. But I can't leave the house till this shit's over with.
Like I said, the whole setup was just awkward. He got his own interest, like we said earlier. Like if you were gonna involve him, I just feel like it could have been a different way. Like why not do? Didn't Pat McAfee's no, not Pat McAfee, Logan Paul's manager or homie come out, like do the crowd or something? All I know is I looked down and he was there. Why not do something like that if you had to have Travis Scott in there? But like you said, why is he even there at all without The Rock? I don't get it.
John Cena is now a 17-time world heavyweight champion. The crowd was booing Cody at WrestleMania again. And I'm wondering if this was just a WrestleMania crowd or if Cody's at a crossroads, no pun intended.
We've talked about this before. Eventually, the fans are going to get tired of the whole Captain America, white meat babyface spiel. But I think this was just a WrestleMania crowd at the moment. And I think it was just a bunch of fans. You know, we're getting old, Rucker. Some of these fans have grown up with all they know is John Cena. So I think that played a factor into it as well. Fans wanted to see their childhood hero get one last hoorah, and Cody just happened to be the other person on the other side of the ring. So I think once he gets away from John Cena, I think fans will get back on his side. I don't think they're going to keep booing him now that he doesn't have the championship. You know, it's probably a little fatigue from him having the belt for a year as well. What do you think?
And a very lackluster run. I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with nostalgia with John Cena's last year coming up. People want him to have the belt. I do think it was a WrestleMania crowd because Cody hadn't been booed like that anywhere before what happened in Las Vegas on SmackDown.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with him next. Just off the top of your head, you know, we don't really fantasy, but what makes sense for him as far as his next story or opponent?
Who, Cody?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's already not in the title picture because Randy Orton attacked John Cena last night. So let's run through Monday Night Raw real fast and we'll hit the big topics of that.
Oh yeah.
Because it's getting late early. But a lot took place last night. You had Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez win back the tag team championships one night later, and Becky Lynch turned heel on Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to nitpick. Why couldn't they have done this at Mania? I feel like that would have got a bigger reaction. And I feel like, what's the point of flip-flopping the belts? Just to have another, you know, notch on Becky's belt or Lyra's belt? Like, why didn't they just do that at Mania?
I feel like you're right. I also feel like, you know, Becky's turned heel twice. Both times it's been in Las Vegas. And if you saw the price of Jack Daniels, I agree with her. That shit would piss me off too. Like, motherfuckers want $40 for a fifth in the hotels there. That's enough to make any motherfucker turn heel. I don't understand why they had them win the titles, and then they could have easily, like you said, had Lyra, but
and Liv deserved to have her win after the work Liv put on the past year. Liv deserved a WrestleMania win.
And I know it's very close to the time frame of the Whodunit with Naomi and Jade, but we don't know who attacked Bayley, and I think it may have been Becky. She just happened to be around with ring gear and to come in and win the World Tag Team titles. She just happened to be available for Lyra to be like, hey, I need a partner now. Bayley's out. Like, I think this is about to be a story of Becky being a chicken shit heel over big time backs, how she was a couple years ago.
I can see that happening. And to go off topic a little bit, they can run that really quickly. And I think it's time for Bayley to go. And not that she's doing anything bad. I just think they really don't have a lot for her to do there. She wasn't on this year's WrestleMania card, and I know it's probably storyline tied in, but seems like she's kind of going through the motions nowadays. I think she wants to go over there with Mercedes and just put on some bangers, and I think that audience would appreciate her. And you probably getting Mariah May in exchange, so I feel like that's a fair trade. But I digress. All in all, I thought this was a really fucking good episode of Raw. I don't know what you thought about it.
Oh, I thought it was really good too. I watched the first hour on the plane when I got back, and then came home and showered and fired up the Netflix and watched the rest of it. I really enjoyed Io versus Stephanie Vaquer. Even the awkward, we can't really speak English that well, but we're trying promo before was really good. I loved Roxanne and Julia coming out together, dressed in all black. They just looked like badasses. I even liked Rhea running out there, and I'm not a Rhea guy. Now, I was hoping in my head, like, as Rhea's running out, I was like, how dope would it be if Bianca just fucking came out of nowhere and clotheslined her while she's running to the ring, and it's a faction with fucking Bianca, Roxanne, and Julia.
Hey, I was talking about what's next for Bianca. That'd be a good way to transition her over to the next thing. I wouldn't be mad at that.
But it looks like Rhea's on her way back to fighting Io for the title again. And on NXT tonight, isn't it Roxanne versus Stephanie tonight?
Yeah, last day in Vegas, and that's where they're having it at. They're gonna be at the Fountain Blue, where
they're wrestling at the Fountain Blue.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So last night in Vegas, they're going out like that.
I should have just fucking flew up Friday night and stayed till Wednesday. That would have been dope to go see.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like you said, good match between Stephanie Vaquer and Io. And I love the finish because I've always complained that why have a match on regular TV if you're going to have somebody just beat somebody who's also in a pretty equal position. Save that for like a PLE. So I love the muddy finish of it.
I was watching that with my girlfriend last night, and she's a Stephanie Vaquer fan. All because of her outfit.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
I thought it was gonna be like an overarching story, like something happened in a match.
She was like, "That's a dope outfit." I was like, "Yeah, I agree." And then Stephanie Vaquer turned the other way, and she was like, "That's a really nice outfit." I was like, "Same." She's like, "You're way too excited about it." I was like, "So are you?"
See, fair trade. I liked how John Cena kicked off the show. He said, "I'm taking my ball and going home."
Cena was good last night. I love that he was like, when they said Cody and they booed him, he was like, "See, y'all are a bunch of assholes. Like, this dude carried the company forever, and now you're booing him. That just proves my point. You're a bunch of bitches."
Now, did he try to flip it one point of it? And they were saying, "We aren't sorry," or "We are." It sounded like they said, "We are sorry." He's like, "Y'all saying we aren't sorry."
Yeah, he definitely took some creative liberty with that one, but it made sense the way he did it.
Yeah,
but I think the crowd was apologizing to him, and he's like, "I ain't trying to do this shit. It's too late. Y'all been booing me for 20 years."
He's right, man. Fans are fickle, and RKO out of nowhere, like you said earlier. It looks like that's gonna be in St. Louis. I looked up prices, and I might be skipping out on this one record because the prices are goddamn high. And I think this is before they announced the matchup. They hadn't even announced it officially, but I think I looked at it even before he RKO'd them, and like they really try to price fans out. There are resale tickets, so maybe that's a factor, but still, it's on Ticketmaster, and I don't know if I'm gonna be going into this one. I plan on going too.
Other main storyline, your world heavyweight champion came out, and Sami Uso comes out. And I don't know if you paid attention, EJ, if you were watching, but it was very like Jay looked like he was kind of like apprehensive of Sammy. Like if you remember the Bloodline storyline where you had to pay attention to everybody's mannerisms and shit like that. That's how this was. I felt like Jay didn't know if Sammy was gonna try to attack. Even when Sammy was like, "Yeah, go on the top rope and fucking yeet again," Jay was like looking over his shoulder, like, "This nigga about to try to attack me." But how'd you? First off, that Jay Uso video they did beforehand was so fucking good.
uh, with the highlights of his career and
Yep.
early moments. And yeah, I thought that was good as well. Yeah, I thought it was a little awkward because being lifelong wrestling fans, you think, all right, here it comes. Sammy's about to get him. But like you said, they just awkwardly didn't do anything. They just had a regular celebration. But I think that was the charming part of it too. Like not all the time somebody has to turn their back on their friend. I just hope they keep it that way because I think it would be a little bit kind of like a reactionary move to turn Sammy heel just so he could have an opponent, or just so Jay could have an opponent. I mean, it could be friends versus friends. You don't have to necessarily
Yeah.
turn him heel because I think Sammy is a natural babyface. Even though I did love the stuff when he was the conspiracy theorist. I thought that was good, but yeah, there's no need to really turn him.
And I thought the same thing. I thought Sammy's coming out to congratulate him, and then he's gonna be like, "But as a friend, like, can I get the first shot?" When he was like, "I wanted to be the first one to come out face to face," I was like, "Oh shit, Sammy's gonna challenge him," and I thought that would have been fine. It would have been a good way of Jay being like, "Oh, this is what it's like to be the world champion. Like, even your friends want to fucking take the belt from you."
But now that you mention it, you say he's looking over his shoulder. Maybe they are planting the seeds for Sammy to go heel, and I don't know if I like that.
Yeah. Right after that, Gunther comes out because Michael Cole and Pat McAfee were talking that shit about him. Gunther tapped out. Jay made him look like a bitch and all that. Gunther was like, "I look like a bitch?" And Michael Cole was like, "Yeah, nigga, I ain't the one that tapped out." Bam, slap the shit out of Michael Cole. Pat McAfee hits him. Gunther chokes him out. All Pat McAfee's boys jumped. At first, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, "Are those fans?" And then I realized it was Pat McAfee's like podcasting crew, which made it look more real, which I'm all fucking for. And McAfee, they say Gunther's a heel, but he kind of turned babyface by choking out Pat McAfee. Because fuck that guy. Like, I'm so sick of him. Like, I hope this is a way to write him off of WWE TV for a while, but I doubt it because he was interviewing The Rock like 8 hours later.
Wait, what happened to kayfabe? Keep kayfabe alive.
Did he died with Tony Khan at the draft?
Yeah,
Tony Khan was selling his fucking pile driver, and everybody made fun of him.
At least he attempted to, keep in line with the business.
I agree. I was all for it, and everybody in wrestling talks shit about him. And now Pat McAfee interviews The Rock the next day, and everybody's like, "Damn, I thought you got choked out by Gunther." You can't have it both ways. You made fun of Tony Khan, and now you're talking shit about McAfee.
Well, maybe it was WWE people making fun of Tony Khan.
Wrestling fans should just be wrestling fans, man. Like, we really like WWE, AEW? Like, shut the fuck up.
People, you know how it's tribalistic with fans. It's stupid. I agree, it's stupid, but that's just is what it is. People like to choose sides. It's weird. It's weird behavior. But I digress. Going back to the Pat McAfee of it all, I like the segment. Like you said, he was talking that shit, talk shit, get hit. But then, like you said, he went full Pat McAfee. He was selling it. He was beat red. He was selling it. But then when he's going up the what you call it, the pathway, he was slapping fans' hands. Like, what I thought you're supposed to be like, come on, man. Like, why you gotta be such a bro all the time? Like, sell it. And that might be
I did like that after he hit Gunther, he was like, he had this look on his face like, "Oh fuck." What the fuck did I just do? Like, I do not want this smoke.
Yeah. I mean, that's when he knew he fucked up.
Yep. Last segment of the night.
But yeah, before we get to that, what does this even go? Is it going to happen with a Pat McAfee and Gunther match? Because I think that would be absolute trash.
It better be an absolute squash.
I don't know. He was jumping off cages in NXT and shit. So who
Yeah, against
knows?
Adam Cole, not Gunther.
Him and Logan Paul got into a competitive. The one we went to, SummerSlam we went to. Yeah,
Logan
like you said,
Paul,
it needs to be a
not
squad.
Gunther.
I mean, Logan Paul went toe to toe with the Tribal Chief somehow. Make it make sense, people.
Yeah.
All right.
Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman come out. They cut their mission statement. The goal is to make Seth Rollins the number one guy. They didn't explain why Paul Heyman turned. CM Punk runs out, get his ass whooped as he should. Um, and then Tribal Chief comes out, makes quick work of Seth Rollins. Superman punches Paul Heyman, and as he's about to spear him, bam, he gets hit. Somebody in a hoodie. Oh shit, is that Solo? Is that Jacob Fatu? That's Braun motherfucking Breaker.
Yeah, I love the way the show ended, and what I love most is, you know, Braun Breaker took the L at WrestleMania, even though he didn't get pinned. And in past they might have just had him lingering around the IC title, with no direction. I like how they just bam put him in the next thing and put him with Paul Heyman to almost immediately elevate him to the next level. So I love this setup.
I love it too, and I'm hoping Becky joins them, and I'm hoping they get one more person. I don't know who it will be yet. Um, Maybe the re-debuting of Rusev can join with him.
So I mean, I don't think they need Becky. Becky's her own entity. I wouldn't be mad if they did it because I'm sure they'll make it good, but I don't necessarily think they even need anyone else. I mean, if it makes sense. Yeah.
They don't need Becky, but I think it would solidify her as a heel also being aligned with them. Because right now, people want to cheer Becky, man. People want to boo her. Quit trying to make her heel when she's not. Like, we like her. But you put it with Seth and you put it with Heyman and Braun Breaker, and they're doing nefarious shit left and right. I think it'd be hard to not. And I'm all for a faction having one or two women in. That's why I like the Judgment Day. I always have, even when Rhea was in it. So you got a woman in your faction. It ain't just a bunch of fucking. It ain't just a sausage party, of everybody hanging out. Like,
Well, why you hate on the Death Rider so much then?
I don't hate on it. That storyline's trash. I don't hate them. I think Marina Shafir is dope. Like, I like their little dynamic they got, but the storyline just sucks.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, but yeah, I mean, we haven't seen Paul Heyman with really any woman talent. I thought Ronda Rousey would have been the perfect candidate, but she's no longer in the company. Didn't he have like somebody in the Dangerous Alliance? But that was what 30 years ago. A woman in there.
Medusa.
Yeah, so it's been a minute. So why not put
Medusa
a
with
woman?
Ravishing Rick Rude and Paul Heyman, Arn Anderson, beautiful Bobby Eaton. I used to hate the Dangerous Alliance, boy. They're always
Yeah.
fucking Sting.
That was before my time, but of course that was a legendary faction, underrated in some sense.
Sting
But
Squadron versus Dangerous Alliance in War Games. Go watch it.
I'll put that on the short list of wrestling items to watch. But yeah, I wouldn't be mad at it if they put a woman in it, and Becky Lynch seems like she would be the perfect candidate. Like I said, now that we don't have like a Ronda in the company, so yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes moving forward. Because if done right, you could have Braun be kind of like the next Brock, but if not done correctly, be Curtis Axel.
So if Seth is supposed to be the number one guy and he's on Monday Night Raw, that just means in the next like 3 months he's gonna take the title off Jey Uso.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Does he do it by cashing in the Money in the Bank?
No, you already know who I want to win. I think LA Knight deserves that Money in the Bank. I think he just beats him straight up.
I don't know about LA Knight deserving the Money in the Bank.
I know it's
but
probably not gonna happen.
I also know that Becky hasn't won Money in the Bank before, and that's one of her goals. So putting her in the heel faction, having her win Money in the Bank, and bring gold back to the faction whilst Seth. Could you imagine a married couple like Triple H and Stephanie back in the day? Only Becky's good, and so is Seth Rollins. So it'd be way better wrestlers. being the women's and men's world champion on the brand. You get the IC title back on Braun.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I've always liked the Money in the Bank to elevate that person that needs to get to that next level. And Seth did that when he was with the Authority and whatnot. I mean, you could do it again. Remember Brock had it and he was acting like it was a boombox. But I feel like when you have Paul with you, you can just kind of call your shot. And even if he has to do it through Money in the Bank, I'm kind of curious to see like how a Seth title reign with a Paul Heyman would look like, because I don't know. Can we even get that type of aura that Roman had? I think that's almost impossible. That's like lightning in a bottle.
I don't want it anytime soon. I need Jay to keep the belt at least through SummerSlam.
I think that'll happen. I don't think that's outside of the realm of possibility.
Also, I like his changed up his color on his shirt now. It's gold and black like the title. I think that's dope.
I see. That's why we pay you the big bucks, because I would have never realized that intricacy in his outfit.
He even had gold and black sunglasses on and said Yeet on them.
Hey, championship gold, baby. I know that's what they do in UFC. When you're a champion, you have the gold trim on your shorts and whatnot. So nice touch.
Well, shit, EJ, we had a long show. This has been as long as our stay in Vegas almost. You want to say anything else before we get up out of here?
Yeah, man. Big show, big weekend of wrestling. So, we had to go a little long. But shout out to everybody that we hung out with Mania, and shout out to the people that was listening. And I didn't get to meet all of them like you said, but there's always other wrestling events. I'm sure we'll be too. So yeah, thanks for all the support out there.
And I agree with what EJ said. If we hung out with you in Vegas and we met you, we appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. No bad vibes were in Vegas at all. A lot of alcohol, a lot of money spent. But it was really a lot of fun. I'm glad I went. Vegas is my favorite city in the world, and this didn't change it. But it was a lot of fun. WrestleMania is come and gone. We're now in the new season of WWE. We'll get back to talking AEW, maybe some TNA and everything else next week on the show. I know we've been WWE heavy lately, but can you really blame us? Yeah, and for EJ Reed, I'm Chris Rucker. That's pretty much all we got. Until next week. Peace!
Leg drop, boot to the face, we won't fold. Quick to put a dude in this place, he out cold. With a tombstone, grab her the waist, get laid flat. Can't escape, nowhere to go, the cage match. It's on now, when I spot him, it's no problem, everybody stone cold.